I, Hermione, travel through time to Marvel to be the savior. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 576. Cheyenne steals the house. Soon, Granger was optimistic about Cheyenne. It will take a few years at most. Cheyenne was very surprised by Granger's answer and said, "Are you so confident in me?" Granger smiled. "Of course, young man. Do your best." Cheyenne smiled bitterly. "Dahuang, it's not easy." Granger said it too easily. But time is precious now, and it's not the time to continue chatting. Granger looked at the system option task in front of him. Option 1. Take out 10 tons of explosives and blow up the lair of the purple crystal-winged Lion King. Complete the task and reward 100 tons of explosives. Option 2. Trap Cheyenne to death in it, and the world will no longer need Cheyenne. Complete the task and reward the exclusive attribute, Villain, +1. Option 3. The normal plot unfolds, and cooperate with Cheyenne to obtain treasures. Complete the task and reward the exclusive attribute, Fighting Spirit, +1. There are a lot of selection tasks every day, and Granger is already very proficient. Unless the system is crazy, the 3 options are more tricky than the other. Most of the time, there will be a fresh and unconventional task that allows Granger to make a normal choice. Generally, the more powerful magic beasts will have a magnificent feeling in their caves. This purple crystal-winged Lion King is no exception. The cave is not very big, but it is extremely spectacular. With the intelligence of the purple crystal-winged Lion King, it would not have thought that Cheyenne and Granger would choose to steal the house this time. Be careful. Cheyenne and Granger both warned each other at the same time, fearing that the other party would cheat them. Yunzi said that she needs purple spirit crystals. Let's find them quickly. In the original drama, Cheyenne's various small actions made this expedition smoother. This side is no exception. In addition to Cheyenne's preparations, Granger's preparations are also available. The two entered the cave as if they were in an empty space. Found it. This is it. This is a good thing. Granger and Cheyenne were surprisingly consistent at this moment, like bandits, and quickly began to take it away without hesitation. Hurry up. I found a little purple crystal-winged Lion King inside. At least a 3rd-level magic beast. We are no match for it. The little purple crystal-winged Lion King seemed to be sleeping. Outside, its mother and the Dahuang strongmen were fighting fiercely, but it was sleeping soundly inside. Wait a minute. Cheyenne heard Granger's call and said bitterly, "What do you want to do? Are you planning to take this little purple crystal-winged Lion King?" Granger rolled his eyes. "What are you thinking about? Didn't you find that there are treasures here?" At this time, Yao Lao and Cheyenne's ring also reminded him. Companion purple crystal source. Cheyenne communicated with Yao Lao with his mind. "Teacher, what is this?" "This is a good thing. Whether it is used for cultivation or refining medicine, it is the best quality," Yao Lao said with emotion. "Your luck is amazing. I have been in the martial arts world for many years, but I have never had such an opportunity." Granger started stealing this good stuff without waiting for Cheyenne to communicate with Yao Lao. The thing that wrapped the companion purple crystal source was extremely strong and could only be broken with purple spirit crystal. Yao Lao revealed this to Cheyenne in the original play, but this was not necessary. When Yao Lao told Cheyenne, Granger broke it himself and filled 6 jade bottles, and then gave 2 bottles to Cheyenne. "You are so fast." Cheyenne could only sigh. Granger was obviously a woman, but her treasure hunting movements were much more professional than him. Granger suddenly pointed at the remaining companion purple crystal source that could not be filled and said, "Don't waste it, drink it quickly." Cheyenne was speechless. Did he think he was a dog? However, Cheyenne did not refuse. Even Yao Lao said it was a good thing and it should not be wasted. After drinking it all, Cheyenne suddenly felt as if his body was burning, and the fighting spirit in his body was boiling wildly. "Oh my God! Is this going to break through?" In the original drama, the little purple crystal-winged Lion King came out at this time, while the little purple crystal-winged Lion King here was still sleeping. It can only be said that Ms. Granger's speed was too fast and too professional. "Let's go. Let's leave quickly." Granger pulled Jian and ran outside. Yunzai flew in the air, fighting with the 6th level magic beast. This was no longer a life and death battle. Besides, Yunzai also knew some of the special moves of the purple crystal winged Lion King. Yunzai kept an eye on Granger and Jian. It had been a long time since she saw them, and Yunzai was a little anxious. It was not that she was afraid that they would fail, but that they would be killed by the magic beast. When she was upset, a signal flare suddenly came from the forest in the distance. So fast? Yunzai was also a little surprised. Granger and Jian's joint stealing of the house was too fast. When Yunzai was still worried about their safety, Granger and Jian had not only successfully stolen the house, but also left and went to a safe place. In a safe place, they were sending signal flares to Yunzai. Too professional. Yunzai couldn't help but sigh like this. We'll fight again next time. Yunzai left a message and left without fighting. The 6th level magic beast Amethyst-winged Lion King was stunned. This human woman didn't seem like someone who would give up so easily. Could it be? No, the house was stolen! The Amethyst-winged Lion King went back immediately and saw that the cave was intact, but the treasures inside were looted. He was so angry that he roared in the forest. Treacherous human, I will catch you and tear you into pieces. Granger and Jian were as weak as 2 flies in the eyes of the Amethyst-winged Lion King. The key point was that the Amethyst-winged Lion King didn't notice the 2 flies at all. Then, the house was stolen. The only thing that made the Amethyst-winged Lion King feel lucky was that its child, the little Amethyst-winged Lion King, was not injured and was still sleeping. Yunzai rushed to meet Granger and Jian. As soon as they met, Yunzai checked Granger's body and said, Granger, Yaoyan, you are not injured, are you? It's okay, don't worry. Here, the purple spirit crystal you need. Granger smiled and gave Yunzai what she needed. It was too easy to get this time. If it weren't for Granger and Jian's help, Yunzai might have to at least successfully defeat the purple crystal winged Lion King to get what she wanted. It doesn't matter, I know you want to say that you owe us a favor again, but we can also get some treasures because of your sister Yunzai's diversion. Yunzai rarely reached out and touched Granger's face and said, you're right. I'll leave after getting what I want. Before leaving, can you let me see what you look like? Yunzai wanted to remember Granger's appearance. No problem. Granger took Yunzai to the side so that Jian couldn't see. Jian and Yunzai didn't have any feelings for each other, and Granger did all the main good things. At this moment, his body was surging violently because of the purple crystal source he drank. He did not wait for Yunzai and Granger to come back. He found a cave and started to sit cross-legged to practice. Here, the sun was shining and the breeze was gentle in the woods. Yunzai was as beautiful as a picture. Miss Granger in front of her slowly took off her veil. A beautiful face full of exotic charm was revealed in front of Yunzai. Even though Yunzai had guessed that Granger was a beautiful girl, she was still amazed at this moment. Granger, you are so beautiful. Sister, you are beautiful too. Granger looked at Yunzai and suddenly made an excessive request. Before I leave, can I kiss you? Yunzai looked at Granger's clear eyes and blushed slightly, but still nodded. So Granger hugged Yunzai, the Huang strongman, and kissed her beautiful face. Chapter 577, Storm is Coming. If Yan knew about Ms. Granger's feat, he would be stunned. After all, Yunzai is a Huang strongman, not an ordinary beauty. But if you know that Granger is the mysterious Hermione, everything becomes possible again. Yao Lao is such a powerful person, and he has said more than once that he can't see through her. Yan stepped up his time to practice, just by eating some companion purple crystal sources in the purple crystal winged Lion King cave. His body was surging with super energy. This energy is far more terrifying than Yan imagined. Yan practiced for 3 days and 3 nights before he completely refined this energy. When he woke up, his cultivation level in his body soared directly from a 7-star deuce to a 9-star deuce. Such a cultivation speed and such an opportunity are not something that ordinary people can have. Yan was very happy. Teacher, I have reached a 9-star deuce now. Yao Lao also sighed. You are so lucky, kid. When Granger came over, it was as if she had a sharp eye and could see through Yan's cultivation at a glance and said, Great, You have leveled up twice. Diane thought of the companion purple crystal source treasure. There were 6 bottles in total, and Granger only gave Diane 2 bottles. That was a good thing. Miss Granger, the companion purple crystal source. Granger seemed to have guessed Diane's thoughts and said, "Don't have any bad ideas. I have used all the companion purple crystal sources." Diane touched his nose awkwardly. Granger suddenly took a look at the system option task and said to Diane, "Since your strength has improved to this level, we can also start a revenge operation." Diane thought about it and felt that Granger was right. Return to Qingshan Town and completely destroy the Wolfhead mercenary group. Diane was very excited when he mentioned this. He was not excited about killing people, but about revenge. The feeling of revenge is difficult for ordinary people to experience. Granger and Diane are also action-oriented. Although they are opposite sexes, they don't have any romantic moments. They started to rush to Qingshan Town. On the way, they met an adventure team. They were members of the Blood Battle mercenary group. They were Kagang, Kingson, Mashi, Merlan and Linger. Kagang was the oldest and Merlan was Linger's admirer. There were many such adventure teams outside the Warcraft mountain range. It was not surprising that Diane and Granger met them. Originally, Diane was eager for revenge. Now that he had reached the strength of a 9-star fighter, he would definitely massacre the Wolfhead mercenary group. Diane didn't want to pay attention to this small adventure team. He could tell at a glance that their cultivation was lower than Diane's. But Granger had a system option task. She had no choice but to pull Diane to join them temporarily. The people of the Blood Battle mercenary group were also somewhat reluctant, but they didn't refuse too much. Diane and Granger didn't look like weaklings. It was a good thing that everyone could help each other. Just when everyone was targeting the first-level monsters as prey, they unexpectedly ran into Ganmu, the second-in-command of the Wolfhead mercenary group. This guy was not a good guy either. He was quite old, but he was attracted by Linger's youthful figure. If he hadn't taken into account that the other party was from the Blood Battle mercenary group, he would definitely do something inhuman. But even if he didn't take action directly, he still teased her with words. There is a road to heaven, but you don't take it. There is no door to hell, but you break in. Diane suddenly stood up. He was originally wondering why Granger suggested that they join this unknown adventure team. It turned out that Granger knew that this team could meet the second-in-command of the Wolfhead mercenary group. It was not a prophecy, but a prejudgment. Granger often disappeared from the head and tail. She was different from Diane. Diane was practicing hard most of the time. Granger often ran outside, and must have found out a lot of information. When she recognized that this adventure team was the Blood Battle mercenary group at a glance, she guessed that if she joined them temporarily, she would be able to encounter the Wolfhead mercenary group faster. Sure enough. Diane, what are you talking about? Linger was stunned. Although Ganmu, the second-in-command of the Wolfhead mercenary group, was disrespectful to her, Diane couldn't force himself to stand out. The other party was a 9-star fighter, and the second-in-command of the Wolfhead mercenary group, which was no small matter. Diane ignored Linger. Although this woman was somewhat pretty, Diane had seen the beauty of Yunzi, a Huang strongman, so how could he care about this? Good boy. Even if you are from the Blood Battle mercenary group, if you dare to talk to me like this, I will kill you. Ganmu of the Wolfhead mercenary group was also a ruthless character, and he targeted Diane. I'm not from the Blood Battle mercenary group, Diane said as he attacked Ganmu. Although both sides were 9-star fighters, there was a huge gap in strength. Ganmu, a 9-star fighter, could not withstand a single move in front of Diane, and was beaten to spit blood and flew backwards. How is it possible? Ganmu was shocked. Could it be that you are that Diane? Ganmu guessed something immediately. The only person who could attack the Wolfhead mercenary group without mercy and who was so young and had such strength was Diane in the Monster Mountain range. Yes, it's me. Go to the underworld to meet your third master. He misses you very much. Diane attacked again, and the terrifying fighting spirit filled the air. Ganmu was also angry. Boy, don't underestimate me. As a fellow 9-star fighter, Ganmu would hurt Diane even if he died. However, the result was unexpected. Ganmu didn't hurt Diane at all, but was killed instantly by Diane. Ganmu never dreamed that as the second master of the Wolfhead mercenary group, He could do whatever he wanted in Qingshan Town, but now he met Yan, the god of killing, and was so vulnerable. Linger, Kagang and others were all stunned. Yan? Is he the young man who tortured the Wolfhead mercenary group and vomited blood? Rumor has it that he drugged and killed the third leader of the Wolfhead mercenary group late at night. He is a very sinister and vicious person. But today, I realized that the rumor was not entirely true. This Yan is indeed very young and ruthless. However, even if he didn't poison, he could kill a 9-star fighter, the second leader of the Wolfhead mercenary group. Terrible. Young people nowadays are too terrible. Let's go. Yan didn't explain too much to this adventure team. If it wasn't for Granger's suggestion, he didn't want to join them at all. Now that his identity has been exposed, there is no need to stay here. Bye. Granger greeted everyone politely, and then left with Yan. On the Wolfhead mercenary group side, the second and third leaders were now killed by Yan. Mushi, the big leader, was so angry that he vomited blood. Although the Blood War mercenary group and the Wolfhead mercenary group were not allies, Gan Mu did die in front of them, so of course they sent the body back as quickly as possible and explained it clearly. Damn it, it's the Yan again. He can now kill a 9-star fighter on the spot, and he hasn't poisoned him yet. This makes Mushi understand that the storm is coming. Mushi in the original play is still very arrogant, thinking that even if Yan is upgraded to a 9-star fighter, he will not be a match for his 2-star fighter. But Mushi here knows that the other party will poison them, and will also attract a tide of beasts to attack them in the Warcraft mountain range. It is definitely not a simple person. The Wolfhead mercenary group may be in danger. Mushi suddenly felt sad. Chapter 578, Meeting the Little Doctor Again. People who have been on the edge of a knife for many years and have seen all kinds of dangers still have a deep understanding of this impending catastrophe. The wind rises and the clouds surge. The clouds roll and the clouds disperse. This world has always been bloody. Mushi felt that he had aged a lot in an instant. A 2-star she was not considered strong in the entire Jiama Empire, and even existed as a stepping stone, but in Qingshan Town, the Wolfhead mercenary group was one of the best. However, now, just because of offending a child Yan, he actually lost hundreds of subordinates, and at the same time, the third and second in command were both killed. The next move of that killing god Yan can be predicted. However, the culprit of all this was provoked by his useless son Mu. If he hadn't attacked Yan at the beginning, forget it. There is nothing in this world that can be said to be if. Even Mushi didn't see that the child Yan was so terrifying at the beginning. If he knew that he was an invincible killing god, how could Mushi provoke him? Now there is no point in blaming his son Mu. At night, in the Wolfhead mercenary group headquarters, in the flickering candlelight, Mushi called his son Mu. The storm is coming. You also saw the body of the second in command Gan Mu. Father, if that Yan dares to come, we will definitely kill him to avenge the third and second in command. Bang! Mushi slapped Mu in the face with a slap in frustration. Mu was stunned. Father, Mushi said angrily, it has come to this time. You still dare to be so arrogant and confident? Didn't you check the wound of the second in command's death? He was killed instantly in front of the blood battle mercenary group. Mushi became more and more angry. Do you think, with your current strength, you can withstand the attack of the Yan? Mu finally understood something at this moment. He completely understood what his father Mushi meant. Even the second in command Gan Mu of the 9-star fighter was killed instantly by that hateful Yan. As for Mu at present, with his cultivation, how much can he resist the god of killing Zhao Yan? Although he is very unwilling, but this is the cruel fact, falling behind will be beaten. Mu, I only have you as my son, you can't die in the Wolfhead mercenary group like this. Mu was shocked. Father, what do you mean? Mushi had seen the god of killing Yan, and at this moment he also made the worst plan and said, with Yan's cruel character, he will not give up until he kills all the Wolfhead mercenaries. Father, don't let others' ambitions grow and destroy your own prestige. Mu really didn't understand why his father was so pessimistic. Mushi sighed and said, my silly son, Don't you understand? Our wolf-head mercenary group has been chasing Jian for so long. Not only did we not gain any advantage, but we also suffered heavy losses. Now the third and second in command are dead. Don't you understand? Kicked the iron plate. They were blind and provoked the ruthless people they shouldn't have provoked. Father. Mu Li was unwilling to admit this fact. Mu Shi then told him his plan. If we all die, I hope you can survive. Mu Li originally disagreed. He didn't want to leave the wolf-head mercenary group and live alone. Moreover, he had been bullying the wolf-head mercenary group for many years. Now that he left the wolf-head mercenary group, he, Mu Li, would no longer be so powerful. Mu Li, remember, if you keep the Green Mountains, you will not be afraid of running out of firewood. In the end, Mu Li packed up his things overnight and left the wolf-head mercenary group with 2 followers. Before leaving, Mu Li's hatred for Jian reached the point of irreconcilable. Jian, I will double the humiliation today. Unfortunately, everyone has hatred, everyone can say harsh words, but in the end, there are very few who can really do it. After learning that Mu Li successfully left the wolf-head mercenary group, Mu Shi finally felt relieved, and he stayed in the wolf-head mercenary group, always with a big knife beside him. This big knife has been with him in the martial arts world for many years, killing countless people. Jian, you little beast, come on, let's fight to the death. Mu Shi was waiting for Jian to come for revenge. A fight of victory and death. Jian and Granger, they didn't know that the culprit, Master Mu Li, had already escaped overnight. They acted quickly and soon arrived at Qingshan town. Let's go see Zhao Yixian, Granger suggested. Jian was a little surprised. Is Zhao Yixian still in Qingshan town? Jian was isolated from the news, so naturally he didn't know as much as Granger. Zhao Yixian doesn't have her own power. She just got the 7-color poison scripture not long ago. Only in Wanya Ozhai can she get the medicinal materials she wants for research anytime and anywhere. This is why Zhao Yixian stayed in Qingshan town. If she fled around in the Warcraft mountain range like Jian, not only would her safety not be guaranteed, but there would also not be so many medicinal materials to provide her with for researching the poison scripture. Is Wanya Ozhai really that good, helping Zhao Yixian resist the threat from the wolf-head mercenary group? Jian didn't believe it. Granger said, according to my investigation, Mr. Yao of Wanya Ozhai has put Zhao Yixian under house arrest and given her a deadline to hand over the secret treasure in the cave. Jian sighed. As expected, all crows are evil. Jian looked at Granger again and said, you are really amazing. You can find out all kinds of information. Granger said, not all of them. There are some things I don't know. For example, Mu Li, that guy, actually escaped overnight, which even Granger didn't expect, because in the original drama, Mu Li and his father Mu Shi waited for Jian to come to their door and be killed. Here, Mu Shi actually got it and knew to leave the fire and let Mu Li run away first. Wanya Ozhai is in Qingshan town and belongs to a force outside the 3 major mercenary groups. It is always filled with the fragrance of medicine. There are many mercenaries coming here. Wanya Ozhai is the only one that almost monopolizes the medicinal materials market in the entire Qingshan town. Naturally, there is no shortage of business. Zhao Yixian used to cooperate happily with Wanya Ozhai with her superb medical skills, but it is a crime to possess a treasure. Since he got the secret treasure in the cave, he has been targeted by the wolf-head mercenary group. Now, even Mr. Yao of Wanya Ozhai has lost his patience with Zhao Yixian. With the cooperation relationship over the years, Mr. Yao has not forced Zhao Yixian to hand over the secret treasure, hoping that Zhao Yixian can take it out for joint research. But Zhao Yixian does not believe Mr. Yao. Although Mr. Yao looks like a gentleman, people's hearts are separated from the belly. If Zhao Yixian hands over the secret treasure, then Zhao Yixian may completely lose its value. It is very likely that Mr. Yao will personally send her to the wolf-head mercenary group. After all, it is not worth offending the entire wolf-head mercenary group for a little doctor. On this day, the deadline finally arrived, and Mr. Yao impatiently came to Zhao Yixian's room. Mr. Yao, who lost his patience, no longer had the elegance of the past. Zhao Yixian, I don't want to be violent, but you should not be ungrateful. Zhao Yixian couldn't help laughing when she saw Mr. Yao's face tearing. I don't understand what Mr. Yao means. Mr. Yao looked at the bright eyes of Zhao Yixian, wishing he could dig out the pair of shrewd pupils and use them as medicine. Zhao Yixian, don't pretend to be ignorant. You must hand over the secret treasure in the cave today. However, before Zhao Yixian could continue to pretend to be polite, Granger and Jian suddenly rushed in. Don't move, otherwise, you will be killed. Chapter 579 Killing Mew Snake. As a martial arts fanatic, Jian is always capable and ruthless in doing things. When he came with Granger to find Zhao Yixian, he put a Xuanzong ruler on Mr. Yao's neck. How heavy is the Xuanzong ruler? The mysterious patterns on the ruler can also suppress Mr. Yao's cultivation, making him unable to move. Who are you? Zhao Yan, Granger. He introduced himself, and this time he did not hide his real name. Mr. Yao's mouth was bitter. You dared to come back. Aren't you afraid that the Wolfhead mercenary group will kill you? Granger said, we are here to kill the Wolfhead mercenary group. If you don't mind, we can take your head. By the way, what he said. Mr. Yao is also a big man with a high status in Qingshan town. Mu Shi of the Wolfhead mercenary group has to give him some face, otherwise Zhao Yixian has stayed here for so long, and the Wolfhead mercenary group would have come to kill him long ago. But at this moment, Mr. Yao was threatened by the two little guys. But Mr. Yao didn't dare to mess around. He knew that Jian was a killing god who had killed many people from the Wolfhead mercenary group. If he was really irritated, Mr. Yao might really die here with Jian, Granger and Zhao Yixian. Mr. Yao was a man of character. After analyzing the situation, he immediately changed his face and said, misunderstandings are all misunderstandings. Zhao Yixian has a good life in my Wanyao's high, and I protect her well. Don't repay kindness with enmity. Jian said coldly, when we just heard you forcing Zhao Yixian to hand over the secret treasure in the cave. You didn't say that. Jian and Mr. Yao did not have a deep hatred. People's hearts are sinister, and all crows are black. Mr. Yao could become the owner of Wanyao's high, so he was naturally not a good person. A real good person could not survive in the cruel Qingshan town and still make such a big business. Mr. Yao could protect Zhao Yixian for a few months, no matter what his purpose was, as long as it was not the last moment. Jian had no need to kill Mr. Yao. Mr. Yao looked embarrassed. I have no other choice. The Wolfhead mercenary group's Mu Shi threatened that if I didn't get the cave treasure from Zhao Yixian, they would destroy our Wanyao's high. Mr. Yao was very smart and found a reason immediately. Whether it was true or not, it would be easier to talk with a reason. In that case, we will no longer embarrass you, Mr. Yao. Jian did not put down his weapon. If Mr. Yao dared to make any small moves, he would kill him immediately. Jian said to Zhao Yixian, we are going to destroy the Wolfhead mercenary group. Zhao Yixian, do you want to go with us? Zhao Yixian did not hesitate. Of course, in fact, even if you don't come, I plan to leave Wanyao's high. She had already done everything she needed to do here, so there was no need to stay here any longer. Mr. Yao continued to smile bitterly. He didn't understand how Yixian would leave, but the other party could say it so confidently. There must be a way. It seems that he underestimated Zhao Yixian. Not only did he not get any benefit, but he lost both the lady and the army. Then let's go. Granger, Jian and Zhao Yixian left in a carefree manner. After leaving Wanyao's high, Jian was a little worried and said, Mr. Yao looks extremely treacherous. Will keeping him be bad for us? Zhao Yixian said, don't worry, I have learned the 7-colored poison scripture. In fact, Mr. Yao has been poisoned for a long time, and he doesn't know it yet. If he doesn't attack us, I won't let the poison take effect, otherwise, he will bleed to death from all 7 orifices. So scary. Jian felt cold. Granger also learned the method of refining poisons from the 7-colored poison scripture, but not as scary as you. Zhao Yixian, who poisoned? Jian wanted to say something vicious, but thought that they were in the same camp, so it was not appropriate to say so. Zhao Yixian smiled and said, I heard that you poisoned and killed the third in command of the Wolfhead mercenary group. At that time, I felt that Ms. Granger was really a genius. She only took a few glances in the cave that night and she knew it. Granger smiled and said, fortunately, I didn't do much. It was mainly Zhao Yan's credit. Zhao Yixian talked to Zhao Yan again. Although Zhao Yixian, like Yunzai, had a shallow relationship with Zhao Yan, as friends, there was no problem in chatting for a while. Upon learning that Zhao Yan was now a 9-star fighter, Zhao Yixian also sighed. Zhao Yan, you are practicing too fast. At the same time, Zhao Yixian also looked at Granger and said, we still need to work harder. Granger smiled but said nothing. She has been working hard. On the surface, it seems that Zhao Yan has improved the fastest, but in fact, Granger's improvement in all aspects is many times faster than Zhao Yan. The three of them did not delay and immediately came to the Wolfhead mercenary group's base. In the past few months, the three of them were hunted by the Wolfhead mercenary group, but this was the first time they came to the Wolfhead mercenary group's lair. The wind was whistling, and the weather today was full of a solemn and murderous atmosphere. Qingshan Town is not as good as Un City, but this place is more mixed with dragons and fish, and all forces in the town have noticed this place. But no other forces are willing to help the Wolfhead mercenary group. In a small place, everyone's competition is fierce, and they wish the Wolfhead mercenary group would be completely destroyed. How could they come to help? Everyone was just sitting on the mountain watching the fight between tigers. You are finally here. Mushi of the Wolfhead mercenary group was like a tyrant at this moment, with the wind blowing his messy hair, and his arrogant face looked at the man and two women who broke in. The two women were not taken seriously by Mushi, who only valued the young man Zhao Yan who was carrying a huge Xuanzong ruler. My sword has long been thirsty for your blood. Dare to break into the Wolfhead mercenary group, kill them. With the killing of the third and second in command, the Wolfhead mercenary group has been defeated, and the monkeys scattered when the tree fell. Now there are less than 50 people in the entire Wolfhead mercenary group. Back then, Mushi led more than 200 people into the Roarcraft mountain range to kill Zhao Yan. Now, the Wolfhead mercenary group has completely withered, which is also a pity. A group of mercenaries with weapons in their hands rushed over. They were all the most loyal subordinates of the Wolfhead mercenary group. The disloyal ones all ran away. Of the three bosses of the Wolfhead mercenary group, 2 are dead, and the enemy Zhao Yan is still alive. If they don't run now, they will have to wait for their heads to fall before running. Zhao Yan, we will deal with these small fry. You go kill Mushi. Zhao Yan nodded and strode towards Mushi. The mercenaries around knew how powerful Zhao Yan was, and they were no match for the terrifying 9-star fighters. They saw that Zhao Yixian and Granger were both wearing veils, and their graceful figures were coveted. Kill them. Zhao Yixian and Granger looked at each other and poisoned them at the same time. Granger didn't want to expose her strength, but Zhao Yixian could only poison. Her fighting spirit was too low, and she was no match for this group of mercenaries. Poison is simply cruel to these mercenaries with fighting skills, because these mercenaries can't resist it at all. It was better to meet Granger, but he collapsed to the ground with weakness all over his body. But it was miserable to meet Zhao Yixian. Not only did her skin rot, she vomited blood, and screamed incessantly. Little medical fairy had never had such a vicious poison before, and she learned all these from the 7-color poison scripture. Now when fighting with the enemy, it is either you or me, so naturally there will be no mercy. Granger is a lady. For the sake of her own image, she can refine a more vicious poison, but there is no need. Just knock down the enemy. The screams of his men made Mushi upset. More than 50 elite mercenaries could not deal with 2 weak women. Those 2 women were poisonous, which was extremely vicious. Where is Muli? Let him come out and die first. Zhao Yan did not forget that guy. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 580, Letter of Submission. Muley. Hearing Zhao Yan mention this name, Mushi laughed wildly. Interesting. It's really interesting. Interesting. Zhao Yan also seemed to find it interesting. He stopped talking and took out the Xuanzong ruler to fight with the leader of the Wolfhead mercenary group, Mushi. Boom. Although the two have a huge difference in cultivation, Their strength is not much different. 9-star fighter versus 2-star fighter. As the male protagonist, Diane's cultivation has been improving during this period. Compared with the villain leader Mushi, his strength has progressed slowly. From the last time they met until now, it has hardly changed. Boom. After another attack, Mushi began to spit blood. It's impossible that he, Mushi, can't beat a 9-star fighter at all. I thought they were evenly matched. If Diane wanted to take revenge, he would have to pay a painful price. How is it possible? Unwilling. Why does this stinky boy have such terrible combat power as a 9-star fighter? Boom. In the third confrontation, Mushi fell and was killed directly by Diane. Then, the Wolfhead mercenary group was slaughtered. After today, there will be no more of this mercenary group in Qingshan Town. The news of the destruction of the Wolfhead mercenary group spread quickly. Although Qingshan Town is a small place, the reputation of the Wolfhead mercenary group is not small. The news spread quickly. When other mercenary groups and Wanya Ozai heard the news, they were all shocked. Was it destroyed so quickly? Did that kid Jian find help? Mushi is a 2-star chi, and he died just like that? Knowing that Jian had brought 2 women to destroy the Wolfhead mercenary group, everyone was even more shocked. Mu Li, on the other hand, was heartbroken when he learned that his father Mushi had been killed by the evil villain Jian. Although the relationship between them was not deep, Mu Li would never be so powerful again after Mushi died. There are only 3 kinds of cultivators in this world. One kind is like Jian, who can continue to grow and become stronger. As long as they progress a little slower, they will be overtaken by Jian. One is an ordinary strong man, although he is also powerful, but his progress speed is normal. The third type is Mu Li, who is not a waste, but needs to be protected by a master. If he is not protected, he will be completely finished. Mu Li regretted for the first time. He should not have thought about occupying Zhao Yixian, and he should not have provoked Zhao Yan. If his life could be repeated, he would definitely. Mu Li did not work hard. In fact, with his opportunity and talent, even if Mu Li did not eat or drink and practiced 24 hours a day, he would not be able to catch up with Zhao Yan. In the path of cultivation, you cannot become a strong man just by practicing hard. You also need a huge opportunity. Yan's opportunity is so strong that there is no second man in the entire Qi continent. Then there is talent. Yan's talent is not bad. At least it is many times stronger than this Mu Li. In addition, Mu Li was originally a playboy. It is too difficult to expect him to rebound with this character. Seeing Mu Li like this, the followers knew that there was no future for him to continue to follow Mu Li in the future. If I followed Mushi, I could at least enjoy myself for a few years. But if I follow Mu Li now, I am afraid I can only flee all year round. If I could see the hope that Mu Li could become a strong man, I would be able to persist. But no, not at all. So, the 2 mercenaries who escaped with Mu Li were indeed loyal to Mushi. Otherwise Mushi would not let them protect his son Mu Li. But Mushi is Mushi, and Mu Li is Mu Li. Now, even Mushi has been killed. What else is there to say? To make things worse, the 2 mercenaries drank a little wine that night and killed Mu Li directly. The only value of this Mu Li now is his head. The 2 mercenaries took Mu Li's head and, as a token of surrender, joined another mercenary group that had a grudge against the Wolfhead mercenary group. This world is so cruel. Where there are people, there is the world. Jian looked around but couldn't find Mu Li. He finally confirmed, Mu Li ran away. Granger said, I didn't expect Mushi to have such foresight. The Monster Mountain range is very big. It's probably difficult to find Mu Li in such a short time. Zhao Yixian didn't think that they could find the escaped Mu Li just by relying on a few people. Just like when the Wolfhead mercenary group went to the Monster Mountain range to kill Jian, so many people in the Wolfhead mercenary group couldn't do it. Forget it. Even if Mu Li comes to me for revenge in the future, I will take it. Jian didn't have time to care about that guy now. However, Jian could never have imagined that people's hearts were sinister and the world was cold. Because Mu Li didn't accumulate good relationships in his daily life, he was now in a state of decline and was directly beheaded by his subordinates. Granger didn't care about that existence. The system didn't prompt the option task. which was enough to prove how unimportant that guy was. However, what surprised Granger was that on the second night, there was a task of signing in and punching in the wilderness in the system's 3 choices. Completing the task will reward you with +1 basic attribute. Granger likes the task of signing in the clock-in the most, because it is very simple, so she went. This place is still outside the Monster Mountain range. Granger saw several wild beasts digging at a pit. After dispersing the wild beasts, Granger used magic to dig up the pit, and saw a headless corpse. In the middle of the night, those with a weak heart would probably be scared to death, but after Granger saw it, she was stunned. Is this that Muley? Granger has the ability to remember everything she sees, and Granger still remembers the body of Muley. Why was he killed? Granger did not expect this result. After slowly figuring out the result, Granger smiled bitterly. People are evil. Muley's head must have become a token of surrender, which may be Muley's last value. After all, a guy like Muley must have many enemies, and there are many who want his head. Granger did not think about it anymore. The Key Continent is originally a world of cannibalism, but people pay more attention to its passionate battles and the process of obtaining treasures, but ignore the cruel and cold parts. Every world has this side. After returning, Zhao Yixian took Yan and Granger to a valley. After experiencing the incident of destroying the Wolfhead mercenary group, the 3 of them are now completely friends. Zhao Yixian no longer hides anything from the two. This Medicine Valley is Zhao Yixian's secret base, where she usually collects herbs. Now she is willing to reveal it to Yan and Granger. Yan was also surprised. So there is such a good place. The old man in the ring also joked. It is indeed a good place, with a beautiful environment, a paradise, and 2 little beauties. Yan, don't you consider passing on your family line here? Yan smiled bitterly and communicated with the old man with his mind. Forget it, teacher. These 2 women are not good people, and they are passing on their family line. If I have any bad intentions, I guess they will be castrated together. No kidding. Yan continued. Teacher, I have gained something from the battle with Mew Snake this time. I need to seize the time and practice again. Yao Lao, however, had a different opinion. There are so many fresh herbs here, you should practice the skills of a pharmacist first. Yan felt that Yao Lao was an authority, so he thought it was right and nodded in agreement. Chapter 581, Disaster Poison Body. Life in Medicine Valley is pretty comfortable. Granger has also added the basic attribute points he has accumulated during this period to the second set of attribute inscriptions. Now, Battle Chi +22, Alchemy +25, it's still very fast, and this level of numbers has also increased Granger's talent a lot. The most obvious thing is that the battle chi in the body circulates more naturally and smoothly, and the same is true for alchemy. Under the arrangement of Yao Lao, Yan began to learn to refine the Vessel Protection Pill and the Ice Heart Pill, both of which are second-grade pills. Yao Lao hopes that Yan can develop in an all-round way and not be biased in one subject. Granger's idea coincides with Yao Lao's. If it weren't for Yao Lao, Yan might have been thinking about cultivation with all his heart, and in addition to cultivation to become stronger, he would still cultivate, because only by improving his battle chi can Yan stand at the top. And learning to be an alchemist is essentially to become stronger, but it is not to become stronger in killing skills. If Yao Lao hadn't reminded him, Yan would never have taken the initiative to learn alchemy. Yao Lao kept Yan in suspense in advance and did not tell him what the Vessel Protection Pill and the Ice Heart Pill were used for. However, the materials required for these 2 kinds of elixirs are not simple. In addition to a variety of precious medicinal materials, they also need second-level magic cores of wood and ice attributes. This requires hunting monsters. Yan talked to Zhao Yixian, who also happened to be studying in this Medicine Valley, and she waited for Yan to come back. Granger accompanied Zhao Yan. Are you going to help me? Yan looked at Granger and asked. In fact, Yan had already felt that although Granger seemed to be cheating him every time and seemed extremely unreliable, but in fact, Granger has always been helping him. Don't be self-indulgent. I also need a magic core. That's right. Granger knew the real intention of Yao Lao asking Yan to refine the Ice Heart Pill and the Vein Protection Pill. Only Yan, this idiot, didn't know. and there is no need for the system to prompt a new option task. Granger also needs it. Diane is also used to the way of communicating with Granger, where they both scold each other. When he came to the place where the monsters were infested, he didn't expect to see an old acquaintance. It was the Qingquan team that Granger had briefly joined last time at Granger's suggestion. They belonged to the Blood War mercenary group, but this was not important now. At this moment, the team was in danger. A large number of first-level monsters and a second-level monster surrounded them. When humans wanted to hunt monsters and obtain magic cores, the monsters also wanted to hunt humans and eat their meat to fill their stomachs. It all depends on who is stronger. Whoever is stronger can survive to the end. Whoever is weaker will be killed and eaten. Granger looked at the three options prompted by the system in front of him, chose one and said to Diane, "Let's go up and help them." Diane smiled and said, "It just so happens that the magic cut of that second-level monster is exactly what I need." Granger did not compete with Diane. She only needed to complete the task and the system would reward her. Of course, even if the system did not reward, it was not easy for Granger to kill a second-level monster. "It's you, Miss Granger." "Diane." "No, it's Diane." Diane's name is obviously more famous than Granger's. At the beginning, Diane hunted down a second-in-command of the Wolfhead mercenary group in front of them. The battle scene at that time is still vivid in the minds of this team. What a strong man, especially later, when the news came from Qingshan town. Diane was ruthless and annihilated the entire Wolfhead mercenary group in one night. At that moment, the young Diane had become a legend in Qingshan town. Whoever heard the name of Diane would not shudder. Don't provoke him, otherwise, the whole family will be wiped out, leaving no one alive. I will help you solve the danger, and I will take the magic core of that second-level monster. Diane didn't wait for them to agree, and he took action. Diane is very strong. The dilemma that the Qingquan team couldn't solve could not last for a few rounds in front of Diane, and all the monsters were killed. So strong. Linger looked at Diane's fighting figure and was a little fascinated. This is what it means to be a hero in youth. It's a pity that Linger didn't have the blessing to have a romantic love story with this brave boy, because Diane acted quickly, without a woman in his heart. He drew his sword naturally, took the magic core of the second-level magic beast, and turned and left. Granger chased up and asked, "After all, he is an acquaintance. Why don't you say hello?" Diane was anxious to find the remaining second-level magic beasts, and said without turning his head, "Is it necessary? I guess my reputation now is that I am a big devil who kills people like crazy. They can't hide when they see me." In order to destroy the Wolfhead mercenary group, Diane did kill many people. "That's right, big devil. Run slower." Diane heard Granger teasing him and could only smile bitterly. In just one day, Diane and Zhao Yixian collected the required second-level magic cores. In addition to the system rewards, Granger also got some herself. Of course, she asked Diane to do it. Diane said helplessly, "You need the magic core. Why do you want me to help you get it?" Granger said, "I just want to train you. You don't know how to appreciate kindness." Diane said speechlessly, "So, I should thank you?" "Don't be so polite, just take the thank you in your heart." Diane was too lazy to argue with her. Granger showed the arrogance and unreasonableness of women to the fullest. However, when Diane and Granger returned to the Medicine Valley, they saw a very unexpected scene. In fact, it was Granger who urged Diane to run faster after choosing the system task, and then had the opportunity to see it. Otherwise, if the two delayed for a while, they would not be able to see this scene. In the beautiful Medicine Valley, which was like a paradise, there was a simple thatched house, which was full of poisonous smoke. After Diane and Granger came in, they saw Zhao Yixian collapsed on the ground, and there was poison at the corner of her mouth. Zhao Yixian was attacked? Diane was shocked. Granger asked Diane to calm down, wrapped Zhao Yixian in a blanket, and put her on the couch. "Don't touch her, she's got an attack of the evil poison body." Evil poison body? Diane was surprised again. She looked like she had never seen anything like this before. The old medicine man in the ring had a strange voice. "This girl is indeed one of the rare ones with the evil poison body." It's rare that Granger knew about it. "Teacher, what is the evil poison body?" The old medicine man explained to Yan. This is a very vicious and overbearing physique. When it attacks, the whole body is poisonous and anyone who touches it will die. Moreover, they are naturally interested in poison. The poison at the corner of Yixian's mouth was not poisoned by someone, but she ate it herself, feeding poison with her body. She eventually became a generation of Poison King. So scary? Yan was shocked. He didn't expect Zhao Yixian to have this kind of physique. The Qi continent is really full of surprises. However, this kind of physique is very painful, and it is also a miserable child. Yan could imagine that although the evil poison body could make Zhao Yixian the Poison King, the pain of the poison entering the body was not something that ordinary people could endure. I am curious, this Granger actually knows. Yao Lao was surprised. Although Yan was surprised, he was not surprised. If this Granger was the Hermione in his hometown Yun City, then it would be very normal. With Yao Lao's explanation, Yan understood what the evil poison body was, and Granger knew, so she naturally understood how to take care of Zhao Yixian. When Zhao Yixian woke up, her expression was extremely complicated. Chapter 582 Swallowing Purple Fire. Zhao Yixian was very smart. She saw that Granger and Yan were not poisoned to death when her evil poison body erupted, which was enough to show that they were knowledgeable and had discovered her secret. Zhao Yixian didn't dare to look Granger in the eye, and whispered, "Sorry, I shouldn't have hidden it from you." Without waiting for Yan and Granger to respond, Zhao Yixian was eager to explain, "I don't want you to see me as a monster." Indeed, the evil poison body looked more terrifying than a monster. Zhao Yixian, don't think too much. Everyone has their own secrets. Granger comforted, "Your situation is a little special, and it is understandable." Yan also said, "Zhao Yixian, we are still your friends. There is no doubt about that." If Yan was scared away because of the evil poison body, he would not be Yan. "Thank you." This time Zhao Yixian finally let down her guard. She even removed the veil in front of Yan and Granger. "Zhao Yixian, you are indeed a beauty," Zhao Yixian said shyly. "Yan, don't say that." Zhao Yixian looked at Granger. Granger was more important to Zhao Yixian than Yan. Yan was used to it. When he was in the Zhao family in Yun City, it was like this. His popularity with women was taken away by Granger and Hermione. Yan said, "Whatever you want to say, you guys chat. I'm going to practice." Without women in your heart, practice naturally. After Yan left, there were only Granger and Zhao Yixian here. The two of them naturally chatted with women without any scruples. As for Yan, he began to refine the ice heart pill and the vein protection pill according to the teacher's instructions. After all these were refined, Yao Lao suddenly said, "Yan, have you found the purple fire in your body?" Purple fire? Yan originally thought that this was Yao Lao's fighting spirit. Although he also had doubts, he was not distracted. When refining medicine, you must not be distracted. If you are distracted, the pill will fail to be refined. This is a taboo. Yes, in fact, that is beast fire, the origin flame of the purple crystal winged lion king, which is the good thing you get after drinking the companion purple crystal source. After Yao Lao said this, Yan immediately understood, and he was surprised. "Could it be that, teacher, you are going to let me?" Yao Lao smiled and said, "Protecting veins pills and ice heart pills are the important pills that you can use the burning decision to devour this beast fire." "I see, teacher, you are so amazing." Yan admired from the bottom of his heart. Yao Lao almost took into account all his cultivation steps. Next, Yao Lao also explained to Yan the essential difference between beast fire and strange fire. Strange fire is undoubtedly more powerful and can only be encountered by chance, and beast fire, which is only available from the origin power of high-level magic beasts, is naturally much weaker, but it can be obtained. It was Yan's first time to devour fire, and it was naturally better to have the beast fire of the purple crystal winged lion king to lay the foundation. Yan was also very excited. Unexpectedly, he still had such a good opportunity. If he could successfully devour the beast fire, then his strength would definitely be raised to another level. It was inevitable that the beast fire could not compare to Yao Lao's bone spirit cold fire, but the beast fire of the purple crystal winged lion king would not be too weak. That day, even Yunzi, a 3-starred Huang, could not completely defeat the purple crystal-winged Lion King. For Yan, who was still a 9-starred Huang, it was naturally a great thing. Yan was practicing excitedly. Granger was not idle either. The system chose one of 3 options. Option 1. Disturb Yan's practice, so that he failed to swallow the beast fire and became possessed. Complete the task and reward the exclusive attribute, villain, +1. Option 2. Help Yixian solve the evil poison body and turn her into a normal person. Complete the task and reward basic attribute +1. Option 3. Swallow the purple fire and start to embark on the path of the Flame Emperor. Complete the task and reward Phoenix Beast Fire +1. Option 1 is of course to eliminate directly. Option 2 can be done, but Zhao Yixian feels that it is unnecessary. Although the evil poison body is too painful for Zhao Yixian, it is also an opportunity for Zhao Yixian. Otherwise, as an ordinary person, how can she quickly become stronger? And this is also Zhao Yixian's path. Let's help her solve it in the later stage. It's too early now. Then it's option 3. The reward is Phoenix Beast Fire. Good stuff. Phoenix is a super powerful beast in any world, and it is naturally much stronger than the purple crystal-winged Lion King. Its Beast Fire, plus the Beast Fire of the purple crystal-winged Lion King, then Granger is equivalent to getting 2 Beast Fires at once. Yan, you can't beat me in fighting spirit, you can't beat me in alchemy, and now I even have one more devouring Beast Fire than you. Granger has a plug-in system, which is stronger than Yan. Granger is meticulous and has naturally prepared the Vein Protection Pill and Ice Heart Pill, as well as other pills. Yao Lao's knowledge of alchemy is like that of Principal Dumbledore in Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. However, Granger has a system. Now her magic knowledge is far above Principal Dumbledore. Similarly, although Granger is not as good as Yao Lao in knowledge of 3rd-grade pills and above, but she had the 2nd-grade pills rewarded by the system before, which means that Granger's erudition far exceeds that of Yao Lao in the threshold of 2nd-grade pills. Granger has a better solution than Yao Lao. Just like making braised pork, in Yao Lao's opinion, only pork belly and sugar are needed. But in fact, you can also add soy sauce, seasoning wine, star anise, scallion, garlic, ginger, dark soy sauce, bay leaves, salt, message, pepper, cinnamon and other spices. This way, braised pork is more delicious. Zhao Yixian just had an outbreak of the evil poison body, and her body was weak. After talking to Granger, she went to sleep. Granger's training speed was slower than Yan's. However, Granger used the burning decision and the prepared materials to devour the beast fire faster. He drank a bottle of companion purple crystal source in one gulp. If Yan saw this fierce behavior, he would probably be shocked. He only drank a little bit that could not be filled, and the whole person almost exploded. Granger's pretty face was only slightly flushed with drunkenness, and then it was back to normal. There was no way. Granger was too strong. But Granger didn't waste it. The beast fire was contained in the companion amethyst source. She only needed to extract the beast fire and then use the burning decision to devour it. Of course, this process was extremely dangerous. Ordinary alchemists would find it difficult to do it without the ice heart pill and the vein protection pill. In fact, even if Miss Granger didn't have the protection of these 2 main pills, she could still do it with high-level magic. However, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Granger was well prepared and didn't need to use magic. In less than a minute, she succeeded in devouring it. The level of the burning decision was immediately upgraded. The beast fire of the amethyst-winged Lion King was purple in color, so we called it Purple Fire. Congratulations on completing option 3, and get Phoenix Beast Fire +1 as a reward. Granger got the beast fire again, which was rewarded by the system. This time it was a real flame, and it didn't need to be extracted from the companion amethyst source. Granger swallowed it in one gulp. This time it took a little longer, but no more than 3 minutes. Granger burped. A stream of fiery red flame spewed out like an oversized lighter. The Phoenix Beast Fire is indeed several times stronger. Now there are 2 kinds of beast fire in the body. From now on, I will call you Purple Fire and Red Fire. Granger was in a good mood. He had been in the Key Continent for so long, and finally swallowed the flame for the first time. If you come to Qi continent and don't play with fire, how can you say you have been here? Chapter 583 Black Rock City. Granger was in a good mood after successfully devouring the two kinds of beast fire. Diane also had a rich harvest. Not only did he successfully devour the purple fire, but he also achieved a breakthrough to the level of a Qi. Diane was very excited. The Qi level of Qi made him fascinated. Teacher, I finally became a Qi. Yao Lao was also relieved. Your efforts for so long have not been in vain. Now Yixian woke up again and her body had recovered. This time we have to separate. Now Yixian was a little lonely. She had always been alone in the world. It was rare for her to be with Granger and Diane this time, although there were dangers. The ending was very good. Granger looked at the system options in front of him and smiled at Zhao Yixian. How about you come with us? Zhao Yixian had some yearning, but finally shook her head. I'm going to the Qian Empire. Diane said, I'm going to the Tiger Desert. Granger didn't say anything, but pulled Zhao Yixian's hand and said, We're not with you. Take good care of yourself. Before they parted, Granger gave Zhao Yixian some food, which was delicious food, and also gave her some seasonings for making delicious food. I believe we will meet again in the future. Zhao Yixian has her flying magic beast, so it's convenient for her to leave. Diane and Granger continued to walk, thinking about Zhao Yixian's appearance when she left. Diane couldn't help but feel a little touched, but looking at Granger who was still wearing a veil beside him, Diane said unexpectedly, Do you still want to go on an adventure with me? Granger said, I just happen to be going to the Tiger Desert, and it's just on the way. Diane smiled and said, Okay then. He didn't ask much. Granger seemed to be quite free. It was rare to have such an interesting person to accompany him, so this journey wouldn't be too lonely. Finally, they crossed the Magic Beast Mountains. They have been in this area for almost all this time, from Mutant City to the Magic Beast Mountains, and then came to a place called Black Rock City. This place is amazing. There is actually an alchemist guild. This organization does not exist in Mutant City. This is enough to show that Black Rock City is much larger than Mutant City. In Mutant City, a first-grade alchemist is a rare figure. It is said that the Alchemist Guild has a 4-star alchemist, Maserado. After Granger and Diane entered the city, Diane insisted on taking a rest immediately to recuperate, but Granger suggested to go shopping. Diane could not persuade her and had to accompany her. Granger is undoubtedly like most girls, shopping and eating. She wants to see what is delicious and fun in Black Rock City. If she had not chosen this task, Granger would not be too lazy to drag Diane, a burden, and it would be fine to go shopping alone. Granger does not spend boys' money. If she likes something, she will buy it with her own money. Diane is more and more certain that this Granger must be related to the Hermione in Mutant City. Otherwise, the personalities of the two should not be so similar. They are both people who like to enjoy life. As a martial arts fanatic, Diane had a rare opportunity to experience the good side of life with Granger. At night, he found a large hotel to stay. Before going to bed, Diane naturally had to continue practicing. Now that he had become a fighting master, he naturally had to consolidate his cultivation. After communicating with Yao Lao meant that Diane should quickly collect the 3 necessary materials to devour the strange fire. Devouring strange fire is different from devouring beast fire. To devour beast fire, 2 second-grade pills are enough, but devouring strange fire is much more difficult. Blood Lotus Pill, Ice Spirit Cold Spring and Soul Absorption. These 3 things are rarer than one another. After listening to Yao Lao's introduction of their respective functions and rarity, Diane also felt a headache. The path of cultivation is too difficult. But no matter how many difficulties and obstacles he encounters, Diane must persist. Granger didn't think much about it. She just spent every day peacefully. Why think so much? The next day, Diane said that he would go to the Alchemist Union to certify his level of alchemy, commonly known as taking a test. Yao Lao suggested that Diane take the exam. It would be very helpful to have a certificate certified by the Alchemist Union when traveling in Qi continent. Yao Lao felt that with Diane's current level, he should be able to take the exam. Granger also said, That's perfect, I'll take the exam too. Diane was speechless after hearing this. Granger, are you sure? Diane was a little unconvinced. He said, alchemists are not doctors like Yixian. Although you have read the 7-color poison sutra, don't think that this is an alchemist. Alchemists mainly refine pills, and there is an essential difference between them and doctors. The biggest difference is that doctors cure diseases and save people. Alchemists are related to the path of cultivation. The pills they refine can speed up the cultivation speed. Therefore, alchemists are more popular than doctors. As cultivators on the continent, they naturally want to take shortcuts. Of course, the pills refined by alchemists are sought after, and those who look for doctors usually want to cure diseases and save people. Don't underestimate me. I have beast fire. Granger didn't want to reveal that he swallowed beast fire, but among the 3 choices, this one was relatively simple and the reward was also acceptable. Otherwise, Granger could only use a nuclear bomb to blow up Black Rock City, or burn the Alchemist Guild with an incendiary bomb. Granger is not a villain, but he would not choose the other 2 options. What? Diane was even more surprised. You also have beast fire? Diane immediately guessed something. Could it be that your beast fire is also from the purple crystal winged Lion King? Granger shook his head and said, no. As he said that, Granger stretched out his palm, and saw a flame that was more domineering and hotter than the purple crystal winged Lion King, condensing in his palm. The fiery red color was completely different from the purple flame of the purple crystal winged Lion King. Diane didn't know the goods and couldn't see it. He just felt that although Granger's red beast fire was not as terrifying as Yao Lao's bone spirit cold fire, it was definitely more powerful than his own purple fire. This Granger is really awesome. He has everything. Diane felt that his sense of superiority over her was gone. The old medicine ring immediately said in Diane's consciousness, such a domineering beast fire. Is this the phoenix flame? It's really weird. This is the first time I have seen this kind of beast fire in the continent. The doubtful voice of the old medicine gave Diane an unprecedented inspiration. He suddenly said in surprise, teacher, do you mean that the phoenix flame that Granger has is not from the continent? The old medicine did not understand what Diane meant, and he continued to say strangely, maybe it is also something I have not seen. It is not from the continent, so where can it come from? From other worlds. Diane has always known that. Hermione is a time traveler, starting from when she took out the ice cream and spicy strips. Although this Granger did not take out these things, Diane's feeling was not wrong. Granger is Hermione, all along. Diane thought that Granger, like himself, came from the Earth. But what if Granger is not only from the Earth? Diane was scared by his own idea. That is to say, Granger can not only travel through the world of this continent, but also through other worlds. That is to say, she, as a traveler, is much more advanced than Diane. Chapter 584 Phoenix Flame. Granger wanted to live a more realistic life, a bit like the earliest role-playing games and later open-world exploration games. At first, the map was navigated with one button, and from beginning to end, it was a straight line. Later, exploration games appeared, and players explored on their own to discover interesting game worlds and interesting NPC characters. It can increase the real feeling of the game. Granger certainly doesn't think that the world she traveled through is a large-scale game, because the death here is real death, not a simple set of data. Although system pop-ups often appear in front of her, it is only for her alone. In order to live a more realistic life, Granger did not use advanced magic to shackle Diane too harshly, otherwise, it would be meaningless. Because of this, the male protagonist Diane in the novel world speculated Granger's true identity bit by bit, getting closer and closer to the truth. This is different from Harry Potter and Marvel and the movie world. There are group portraits there, but Battle Through the Heavens is a growth drama of the protagonist. This also led to that if Granger did not use advanced magic to erase Diane's memory of himself, he would speculate more and more about Granger. In addition, both of them came from Earth and had many common ideas. Diane was undoubtedly frightened by his own thoughts. If Granger had lived in other worlds before crossing into this continent, then, How wonderful her life experience would be. Diane suddenly felt a little envious. When Diane had lived in the Key continent for 19 years and had gotten used to the world here being everything, there was actually a wider and more wonderful world. However, Diane would not tell Granger this secret for now. He had actually discovered long ago that Granger seemed to have the ability to bewitch people. Although she did have a charming personal charm that everyone loved, but her popularity was a little exaggerated. Moreover, some people and things were also beyond the normal range. Diane could infer that Granger still had the ability to bewitch people. As long as Diane had too strong doubts and rejection of her, Granger would use it on her. Therefore, Diane would continue to observe secretly and would not show it. Even more, he would not say it. At this moment, Diane looked at the fiery red flame in Granger's hand and exclaimed, "Granger, you are so amazing. What kind of flame is this?" "Phoenix flame." Granger did not hide it. As she and Diane spent more and more time together, the personalities of the two people were very harmonious. Granger was unwilling to lie about some small things. After all, she would use the Phoenix flame sooner or later. If she didn't even tell Diane its name, it would be too stingy. "Phoenix, a divine beast?" Diane asked immediately. "How did you get it?" Granger smiled and said, "Don't worry about this. You have your secrets, and I have my shortcuts." Diane smiled and didn't ask any more questions. The two walked into the Alchemist Guild together. In Black Rock City, this is also a high-level place. Most people don't dare to enter here, and those who dare to come are naturally skilled. The guard also guessed that Granger and Diane should be alchemists, so he would not neglect them, but respectfully asked, "Do you have an invitation letter?" Invitation letter? The two didn't have one. Alchemists usually need teachers to guide them to become talented. To join the Alchemist Guild, they naturally need to be recommended by their teachers. Granger looked at the transparent dialog box that popped up in front of him. Option 1. Knock down the guard with one punch. Completion of the task will reward you with a bag of laundry detergent. Option 2. Dance on the spot. Completion of the task will reward you with the exclusive attribute, Dance, +1. Option 3. Show your Phoenix flame and scare the guard. Completion of the task will reward you with a delicious grilled fish. They are all small tasks. Small tasks are tasks that are not too difficult, the plot is simple, and the rewards are not too important. At most, Granger has to choose dozens of such small tasks a day. Therefore, in her many savings rings, there are all kinds of daily necessities. Sometimes, in order to purchase goods, in order to stock up on the items she wants, she will also choose the reward she wants to do the tasks. For example, if she wants to drink coconut-flavored milk tea today, she will choose the reward for this small task. Of course, there are not so many every day, and it also depends on how much is needed that day. For example, when I was training and hunting monsters in the Monster Mountain range before, the plot was not too complicated, and there were not many people I met and few words to say, so naturally there were few small tasks. They were all big tasks at important turning points. And when I first came to Black Rock City yesterday, I could sign in and punch in at many attractions in the city. I completed 7 or 8 simple small tasks just by running around. We are outsiders and don't have an invitation letter from the local alchemist, but we are all alchemists, so can't we enter? As he said this, Granger seemed to show off and released the fiery red phoenix flame again. The flame was released externally, which required a 4th-grade alchemist to do. It was the flame of a 4-star alchemist, and it was not as terrifying as Granger's flame. The guard was undoubtedly shocked on the spot. 4th-grade alchemist. Congratulations on completing option 3 task. Reward 1 delicious grilled fish. Granger smiled, and after she retracted the phoenix flame, she said, "What a fuss. I'm not a 4th-grade alchemist. I just swallowed a kind of beast fire." Swallowed beast fire? This is something that ordinary alchemists cannot do, even if they are not 4th-grade alchemists. This alone is terrifying enough. "You can come in. You can come in. Respected alchemist, please come in. Please come in." Alchemist is a very noble profession, especially Granger showed off her skills, which are even more amazing. So the guards naturally dare not neglect it. Granger turned back and looked at Diane proudly, as if to say, Young man, do you see, sister, I am awesome. Diane was speechless looking at Granger's pride. Granger is a person with a complex personality. She likes to keep a low profile, while increasing her beauty and charm. She doesn't like trouble, but she loves to show off. Diane regards Granger as a super fast version of Hermione, so he is not too surprised. Entering the interior of the Alchemist Union, it is indeed magnificent and magnificent. The sunlight outside the window falls on the clean marble floor, as if people's reflections can be clearly reflected on it. Even the sound of walking is crisp and loud. People who live and work here feel a little more noble. It's a very classy place. Granger and Diane were new faces and were quickly noticed. Among them was a quirky-looking Miss Lin. Her teacher was a big shot in the Alchemists Union, the 4th grade alchemist Master Otto. Again, in this novel world, beauties are just like cabbages, and can be seen everywhere. Even the top beauties can be found in every area. For example, Miss Lin from Black Rock City. She looks very distinctive, and she is also a disciple of an alchemist. Her family is not small in Black Rock City, and she has countless suitors. Today, she came to the Alchemists Union to take the test. In fact, it is still very difficult to take the test in the Alchemists Union. People with average talent usually have to take many tests before they can succeed. Chapter 585 Lin Qingquan. Although the Alchemist Guild is magnificent, alchemists are rare. Even in Black Rock City, Granger and Diane are strangers, so they naturally attract more attention. When Miss Lin noticed Granger and Diane and Granger also looked over. Granger is also very good at appreciating beauties. First, he looks at the face, then the temperament, and then the figure. He determined that Miss Lin should be the most beautiful girl in Black Rock City. It's a pity that there are too many beauties like this in Key Continent. Many of them ended up as supporting actresses. Miss Lin in front of him is no exception. Even though she is very beautiful, she is still a disciple of Master Otto, a 4th grade alchemist. She has a noble status, but she still can't get rid of the fate of becoming a supporting actress. In contrast, Dao Yixian is different. Even though she is not an alchemist, a body of evil poison is enough to make her a completely different existence from other women. Does it look good? Hearing Granger teasing him, Diane touched his nose awkwardly. It looks good, but I believe that if you take off your veil, Miss Granger, you will look better than that one. Flattery never wears out. Granger is no exception, even if she is a god. Don't say that. We should keep a low profile. That's right. Diane was very cooperative. The class here was very high. He didn't dare to make Miss Granger angry at this time. If they quarreled again, wouldn't it be a joke for outsiders? Miss Lin was cheerful and lively. She was very proactive. Although Granger was wearing a veil, she had an extraordinary temperament, and her figure that fascinated women was also very charming. That Diane was not ordinary either. At first glance, he was a guy who was a hero in his youth. Miss Lin took the initiative to come over and introduce herself. Hello, I am Lin. You can call me Miss Lin. My teacher is Master Otto. You should have heard of him. I don't know you. It should be my first time to come to the Alchemist Guild. Is there anything I can do to help you? Beautiful women still have a face. The system immediately popped up a dialog box. Option 1. Tell Miss Lin that you don't need her help. Just go wherever you want. Complete the task and get the exclusive attribute, Heartless, +1. Option 2. Quickly establish a good friendship with Ms. Lin. Eat together, go shopping together, and sleep together. Complete the task and get the exclusive attribute, Friendship, +1. Option 3. Tell Miss Lin the real purpose of Diane and I coming here. We just met by chance, and we will handle business as usual. Complete the task and get the exclusive attribute, Alchemy, +1. In fact, Granger is also a girl who likes beautiful women. Most boys are smelly. Granger doesn't like it, but beautiful girls are different, just like Miss Lin, who is pleasing to the eye. When she comes, she brings the fragrance of a beautiful girl, which naturally makes people like her. But the task time of option 2 is too long, and the reward is not as good as option 3. As for option 1, in Granger's eyes, it is just an option to make up the number. Just take a look. There is no need to think too much. This is Yan. My name is Granger. We are both here to verify, Granger said bluntly. This surprised Yan, but he didn't say much and nodded. If it was Yan in the original drama, he would definitely want to get close to beautiful women. Men are all the same, but here, there is Hermione in the Zhao family and Granger here. Yan has gotten used to it, whether he wants it or not. Beautiful women will get close to Granger in the end. So, now as long as Granger is around, he has no mind to think about other beauties. It's useless to think about it. He can't compete with Granger's charm in this aspect. The key is that Granger has a plug-in and can perform advanced magic, but Yan can't. Naturally, he can't compare. Certification? Are these two people uncertified alchemists? This is not a small matter. There are not just one, but two. In the Dqi continent, the Alchemist Union has branches in major cities. Of course, it is limited to large cities. It is understandable that small cities like Wutan City do not have branches. Alchemists are rare, and if two alchemists are certified at the same time in Black Rock City, it would be a good achievement for the Alchemist Guild of Black Rock City. This is the same as when Yan signed up at Canaan College. Yan is an excellent student, and the teacher who recruited him at that time certainly did not want to give up such a good seedling. Miss Lin immediately took it seriously and said, "So that's the case. Please come this way. It happens that I am also here to take the test today. We can do it together. I can also introduce my teacher, Master Otto, to you. She has a cheerful personality and is very familiar." Although Granger did not choose to do the second task, she relied on her own charm, humorous conversation, and Yan's dullness. Yan had to be dull. So, Miss Lin and Ms. Granger had a very pleasant chat. However, before meeting her teacher, Master Otto, she met another top beauty, a beauty whose temperament and personality were completely opposite to Miss Lin. If Miss Lin is passionate, it makes you feel warm when you see her. Then this new beauty is like water and ice. Although she doesn't look like someone who would keep people away from her, however, her beauty and the body that makes men drool make her a very impressive person. Her name is Zhu Mai, and she is my mortal enemy. Miss Lin is obviously a mortal enemy of the beauty named Zhu Mai, and they are in a competitive relationship. She is a student of Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild. Don't be fooled by her appearance of being a smart and beautiful woman, but I'll tell you secretly that she has taken the first-grade alchemist exam many times and has never passed. Yan didn't pay much attention to Zhu Mai's beauty. After all, as long as Granger was there, beautiful women had nothing to do with him. What he cared about was another layer of meaning in Miss Lin's words. Is it so difficult to take the exam? A first-grade alchemist has to take the exam many times. In Yan's opinion, he can now refine second-grade pills, and Yao Lao also asked him to come here to take the second-grade alchemist exam. How come the students of the president of the Alchemist Guild here haven't passed the first-grade alchemist exam yet? This is too harsh. Miss Lin sighed. Of course it's difficult. Don't think that you can get a first-grade alchemist certificate just by refining some first-grade elixirs. The questions of each exam are different. Even I didn't pass. Speaking of the latter, Miss Lin was a little embarrassed. Her teacher was a fourth-grade alchemist, but she didn't pass the first-grade alchemist assessment. It's a bit embarrassing. But fortunately, there is Zhu Mai, who is even more of a rookie, and Miss Lin can still accept it. Yan also smiled bitterly, and he communicated with the ring medicine old man. This Black Rock City Alchemist Guild is too strict. The students of the fourth-grade alchemist and the students of the president have failed to pass the first-grade alchemist after many attempts. Otherwise, it's better to retreat in the face of difficulties and take the exam in another city's alchemist guild. Yao Lao scolded Yan for being timid. Is a fourth-grade alchemist very strong? Is the president of the Alchemist Guild very powerful? Can the students they teach compare with the students taught by my medicine old man? But Yan thought that he spent most of his time cultivating his fighting spirit and fighting skills, and he really didn't spend too much time on medicine refining. He had never met any peers before, and he didn't know what level other young alchemists were at. Moreover, Yan knew that Yao Lao liked to brag. Chapter 586 Yan's strength. Zhu Mai over there obviously heard Miss Lin, Granger, and Yan talking about her, but her personality is not the same as Ms. Lin. She is very cold. Granger looked at the system pop-up window in front of him. Option 1. Catch a caterpillar and throw it into Zumai's neck. Complete the task and reward the exclusive attribute, tease, +1. Option 2. Bewitch Miss Lin and Zumai to fight each other and see who is stronger. Complete the task and reward the exclusive attribute, bewitch, +1. Option 3. Let's do the real work and go to verify with Yen. Complete the task and reward the exclusive attribute, refine medicine, +1. No need to think too much. The answer is obvious. Granger did not choose troublesome task, so naturally there would be no complications. Otherwise, a caterpillar fell onto the neck of the cold beauty Zumai. That scene must be spectacular. Of course, bewitch Miss Lin and Zumai to fight. That scene must be worth watching. However, these two choices did not make any progress in the main plot. Granger also hoped to take the test as soon as possible. Now that everyone was here, the test was of course the most important thing. Miss Lin's teacher, Master Otto, soon arrived, as well as Zumai's teacher, Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild. In Black Rock City, these two were big shots. It was the same here. They were just here to see the students, but they unexpectedly saw Yen and Granger. Strange faces. Taking the test. You also want to take the first grade alchemist certificate? Master Otto and Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, naturally knew each other. Seeing that Yen and Granger were about the same age as their students, they guessed so. Yen nodded. He wanted to tell the truth that he was here to take the second grade alchemist certificate, but after hearing Miss Lin say that it was so difficult, Yen had to think carefully before speaking. Otherwise it would be embarrassing. Yen of course looked at Granger at the same time, and seeing that Granger didn't say much, he was still a little curious. This Granger is too low-key. In the field of alchemy, the most difficult question is to ask the other party's master. Yen naturally answered, Yao Lao, and said that the old man liked to travel around the world, and now he didn't know where he was. You can't let Yao Lao's soul come out of the ring. If that happens, it will scare the other party directly. Granger is a woman, and she is wearing a veil. When she faces Master Otto and Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, she speaks very little and seems a little nervous. Unlike when she talked so much with Miss Lin just now. Naturally, she didn't ask more questions, otherwise Granger would inevitably talk nonsense again. The assessment of the first grade alchemist is not as spectacular as imagined. After all, there are few talents in this industry. Even if Black Rock City has an alchemist guild, there are only a handful of first-grade alchemists who come to assess every day. There has even been no one for a long time. Today, there are only Miss Lin, Zumai, Yen, and Ms. Granger. Each person has a separate alchemy room, and they draw lots to decide the first-grade pill they want to assess. Since Ms. Lin and Zumai have a powerful teacher, why are they stuck here and fail many times? The reason is here. Even if you know how to refine many first-grade elixirs, you are not omnipotent after all. When facing the recipe of a new first-grade elixir, refining an unfamiliar elixir according to the recipe is the most challenging for a pharmacist's basic ability. It is often difficult to refine an unfamiliar first-grade elixir within the specified time, so the assessment will naturally fail. However, today, perhaps because of Yen and Granger, Miss Lin and Zumai are lucky. The question drawn today for the first-grade elixir assessment is familiar. Miss Lin's happiness immediately showed on her face. Even though Zumai has a cold personality, she breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. When facing an exam, no one cannot be nervous, unless she can be extremely confident. Granger is such a person. She doesn't feel nervous, no matter what the prescription is. As long as she is given the medicinal materials, she can refine it. Yen is a little nervous. Like Granger, he has chosen prescriptions that he has never seen before, but after all, it was a first-grade elixir, so it wasn't too difficult. The exam provided a medicine cauldron, and Yen only needed to light a fire to refine it. The flame provided by the exam was naturally not as good as the beast fire of the purple crystal-winged Lion King. Yen released the purple flame to refine the first-grade elixir. If it weren't for the difficulty that Miss Lin mentioned at the beginning, which made Yen a little nervous, Diane really didn't plan to use the purple fire for just a first grade elixir. But Diane was also afraid of failure. There were only 2 chances. If he failed even the first grade elixir assessment, it would be too embarrassing. So he just went all out. Although he had never seen the prescription, Diane was taught by Yao Lao himself, so his foundation was naturally solid. In fact, even if Diane didn't use the purple fire, he could have successfully refined it. When students take the exam, there are naturally invigilators. Today, Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, and Master Otto were the invigilators. They looked at their students first. They finally had good luck once. Facing the prescription they were familiar with, they soon refined it easily. It was very smooth that the refining was successful. Nodding secretly, although the students were not geniuses, they were also of average level. But when they saw Diane, they were all shocked. This Diane's strength is a bit terrifying. What kind of flame is that? Strange fire? Strange fire. That is a rare treasure for every alchemist. Not only can it be used as a powerful weapon of destruction, but it can also be used to make pills, which is simply like adding wings to a tiger. It shouldn't be. At such a young age, you have your own flame, which is really enviable. Yes, even Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, and Master Otto, they don't have a flame like Diane. People are so annoying. It's done. Diane has the help of purple fire. Even if he gets an unfamiliar prescription, he succeeds faster than Miss Lin and Zumai in making medicine, because Diane usually develops the habit of learning every minute. If he needs to become stronger, he needs to waste a lot of time, and the skills of practicing alchemists will inevitably be compressed. Diane couldn't be as leisurely as Miss Lin and Zumai. Therefore, Diane's medicine refining speed was the first, and the effect of the medicine was the best. In contrast, Ms. Granger seemed much more low-key. After entering the examination room, the system in front of him popped up a window. Option 1. Refine the first-grade medicine required for the examination at the fastest speed, and complete the task to reward a box of delicious pizza. Option 2. Slowly and leisurely, on time, the last to complete the examination, and complete the task to reward basic attributes +1. Option 3. Deliberately fail the examination, and complete the task to reward the exclusive attribute, low-key, +1. Granger, who has absolute strength, is not so attractive to low-key now. It's just a first-grade alchemist assessment, and she has to deliberately fail in a low-key manner. That's too much. So Granger chose to. Slowly, she didn't use purple fire or phoenix flame, just the ordinary flame provided by the examination. Then she looked at the time and finished refining last. Congratulations on completing the option 2 task. Reward basic attributes +1. Compared with the successful refining of the medicine, the joy of completing the task and getting the reward is greater. To be honest, she was not that interested in the alchemist certificate. She came here today just to follow Diane to join in the fun. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 587 The Mystery of Yao Lao. When it came time to rate the pills, the first-grade pill made by Diane using purple fire was undoubtedly the best. When Miss Lin and Zumai heard that Diane had purple fire, they were stunned. Their teacher didn't have this thing. Who exactly is Diane's teacher? Yao Lao. Even if Yao Lao didn't show up, this Diane is so outstanding that it's enough to guess how terrible his teacher is. When Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, asked Diane about his cultivation, Diane didn't hide it and said that he was at the level of a Daoshi. The test results were the same. For a while, the whole audience gasped. It's fine that he's so good at refining medicine, but he's already reached the Daoshi level at such a young age. What a genius! And a genius among geniuses. For a while, Miss Lin and Zumai looked at Diane with a different look. They were all top beautiful ladies in Black Rock City, so naturally they were very high-minded. It was difficult for ordinary men to catch their eyes. But today, Diane was a little too outstanding. Moreover, this Diane has the characteristics of being obsessed with martial arts. and he is very rare to be obsessed with beautiful women. Since ancient times, heroes have been unable to resist the temptation of beautiful women. Since his appearance, this Xian has never been too close to Miss Lin Qingquan, even Miss Granger beside him. There is no ambiguity between the two, and they are more like cooperative friends. Is Miss Granger's teacher also Yao Lao? Granger's performance is not outstanding. She did not use beast fire, and she was also the last candidate to refine the elixir on time. If she was 10 seconds later, she would have been eliminated directly. However, when the president of the Alchemist Guild and Master Otto checked the elixir refined by Granger, they were stunned. So solid. Excellent, that's right. Although Granger took a long time to refine the first grade elixir with ordinary flames, the elixir she refined was no worse than the one refined by Xian with purple fire. This is the performance of a master who has solid basic skills. It was also the first time for the ring medicine master to see Granger refine the elixir, and he was also curious. Granger shook his head. My teacher is even more mysterious than Xian's teacher. In fact, Granger mostly learned by himself, or secretly. In a narrow sense, Xian's teacher Yao Lao can be considered half of Granger's teacher. Although Yao Lao didn't know Granger, Granger learned a lot of knowledge about alchemy from Yao Lao secretly. The rest was self-taught based on the alchemy secrets awarded by the system. Amazing. You and Xian are both extremely good. In comparison, his students Miss Lin and Zumai were just average. Although the refining time was shorter than Granger's, the finished product of the alchemy was just barely qualified. The same first-grade elixir can also be divided into good and bad. Just like tea, good tea and inferior tea, people who understand tea can tell at a glance. Miss Lin and Zumai were still a little dissatisfied, but after seeing the first-grade elixir refined by Xian and Granger, they were discouraged. This level is better than the one refined by their teachers. It's just a monster. When Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, personally took out the uniform and badge of a first-grade alchemist, Xian looked at Granger and refused. Why? Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, and Master Otto were puzzled. They came here to take the test, but why did they not want it after passing it? Xian was originally frightened by Miss Lin's words. He was a little nervous before, but after the test, he found that it was not difficult. Even if he did not swallow the purple fire, he could still refine it very smoothly. Masters, please don't misunderstand, Xian said bluntly. Actually, I came here this time to take the second-grade alchemist certificate. What? Miss Lin and Zumai on the side were shocked. Although Zumai had not spoken to Xian yet, they were all about the same age. This Xian was not only had she, but also passed the first-grade alchemist test. He actually wanted to continue to take the second-grade alchemist test. The president of the Alchemist Guild was also surprised. He said, Xian, although it is true that a good teacher can produce a good student, you know that the second-grade alchemist is different from the first-grade alchemist. It is not as simple as you think. Xian nodded and said, well, I'm ready. Xian seemed to have thought of something and asked, is it not possible today? If not, then I will come to take the test later. Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, smiled bitterly and said, it's not impossible. Xian may not believe it, but our Black Rock City Alchemist Guild has not had an alchemist take the second-grade alchemist certificate for a long time. This is a fact. Alchemists are rare and extremely difficult to train, and most alchemists will not come again after they pass the test. As a result, the examination room of the Alchemist Guild is usually idle and there are not many people. Xian said, if that's the case, then it's troublesome. The certificate of a first-grade alchemist is too low, and Xian really doesn't look down on it now. After all, Xian followed the boastful Master Yao Lao every day. Yao Lao said that even the legendary alchemist of the Jiama Empire, Dan Wang Guhi, was a piece of shit. After being exposed to such statements for a long time, Xian naturally became more open-minded. I also want to take the exam to become a second-grade alchemist, Ms. Granger said calmly. Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, and Master Otto were also speechless. These two little monsters. First of all, I admire their courage. If it were Miss Lin and Zumai, even if they were given the opportunity, They would not dare to try, because students really can't do it. The first grade elixir is stuttering, not to mention the second grade elixir. The difficulty of refining the second grade elixir is obviously several times more difficult than the first grade elixir. If there's a slight mistake in one step, the refining of the elixir will fail. Miss Granger, you have to think about it carefully. Although my teacher said that your basic skills are solid, the second grade elixir is definitely not comparable to the first grade elixir. Miss Linf just talked to Granger, and now she also spoke. Granger took Miss Linf's hand and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I know my limits." If Granger wanted to be low-key, he could stop at the first grade alchemist certificate. However, just now when Jian said that he wanted to take the second grade alchemist certificate, Granger's system was very considerate and immediately popped up a dialog box. Choose one of 3, with different task requirements and rewards. Granger naturally chose the option with more rewards. So, she will go to the second grade alchemist exam of subject 2 with Jian. Okay, since you insist on trying it, I won't stop you. Miss Linf gave up persuading her. Besides, even if she really failed the second grade alchemist exam, it would not be a big loss for Ms. Granger. At most, it would reduce her self-confidence. However, the path of alchemy is extremely difficult to walk, and it is inevitable that there will be some failures and setbacks. Granger and Jian were soon arranged to take the second grade alchemist exam. A new alchemy room was changed. This time Miss Linf and Zumai could also stand outside and observe. Miss Linf was a talkative person. Although she and Zumai had been in a long-term competitive relationship, it did not prevent Miss Linf from finding something to say at this moment. "Zumai, who do you think will succeed between Granger and Zhao Yan?" Normally, Zumai would not bother to pay attention to Miss Linf, but today, she was rarely interested and said, "I don't know. We can only see it when they start refining." Chapter 588, The Surprising Granger. In fact, Zumai felt that both of them would fail. Even though these two were geniuses, there were limits. They had taken the first grade alchemist exam for so long. It was fine if Yan and Granger passed it once, but it was undoubtedly a bit of a pipe dream to pass the second grade alchemist exam in the same time. However, the polite Zumai did not show it. Even if Zumai did not say it, Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, and Master Otto, who were standing by, also thought so. Yan did not delay and went all out for the second grade alchemist exam. He took a look at the formula of the second grade elixir, which was also unfamiliar to him. It was obviously several levels more difficult than the formula of the first grade elixir. However, Yan was not panicked. He had seen Yao Lao refine a more difficult formula, which was more than 10 times more difficult than this one, and it was just a second grade elixir. Just take it seriously. Yan was fully focused. He released the purple fire again. When the special color of the flame appeared, Miss Linf and Zumai, who had never seen it before, were stunned. "Is this the flame the teacher just mentioned? It's so dazzling. It's actually purple." Zumai's eyes also showed envy. Having this kind of flame is really helpful for alchemists. However, they can also see that every step of Yan's refining the second grade elixir is in order and smooth. The foundation is also very solid. This Yan has a good teacher. Master Otto sighed and said to Miss Linf and Zumai, "You two should be humble and learn well." The two beauties from Black Rock City did not refute. At this time, Zumai, who has always been quiet, actually took the initiative to speak. She looked at Granger in the other examination room and said, "Granger, let's start." The reason why Zumai spoke was that Granger's performance this time was much faster than the first time. Yan became solid and smooth. Then, Granger was dazzling. Too fast. What is she doing? Granger didn't want to show off her skills. It was mainly a system option task. After completing this task, she would get the alchemy attribute +1, so she naturally had to show off a little. Is she showing off her skills? Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, smiled bitterly. Did she hide her strength during the first grade alchemist assessment just now? The speed was too fast. Even Master Otto and Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, didn't do it so fast when they were refining medicine. Oh my god, what is that? At this time, The temperature around suddenly began to rise. In order to complete the task, Miss Granger also released the second strange fire, Phoenix Flame, that she had swallowed. That was a more advanced beast fire than the purple crystal-winged Lion King purple fire. After this flame was released, the surrounding air seemed to be ignited, making the people around them feel as if they were inhaling a burning flame into their lungs every time they breathed in the air. It was too scary. How is this possible? Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, and Master Otto exclaimed at the same time. This Miss Granger has a more domineering flame than Jian. Is this the legendary strange fire? Looking at the fiery red jumping flame for a few more times, it seems that even the human soul will be burned out. If they were shocked when they saw Jian take out the purple fire just now, then at this moment, when Granger took out the Phoenix Flame, they were even more shocked. Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, and Master Otto even had the idea of killing people and robbing. The two old guys who have lived for most of their lives don't have such a good thing. Now, the beast fires possessed by these two young people are more powerful than each other. No wonder they dare to propose the assessment of the second great alchemist. Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, had some bitterness in his mouth. If a student has such a level, then how terrifying must their teacher be? Zumi and Miss Lin were stunned and full of envy. Is this the strange fire? Master Otto said after careful observation. It shouldn't be. Although this flame is very domineering, the power contained in it is more like that from a magic beast. Legend has it that there is a kind of beast fire contained in the blood of high-level magic beasts, which is very powerful. I didn't expect that the teacher of Jian and Granger could actually obtain such a good thing and then provide it to their students for swallowing and fusion. It's easy to say, but the difficulty is extraordinary. You have to know that a 3-starred Huang strongman can only barely tie with the purple crystal-winged Lion King, and Granger's Phoenix Flame is even more terrifying. At this moment, Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, and Master Otto even suspected that Granger and Jian came from an ancient big family in the Qi continent, otherwise it would be impossible to obtain such a powerful flame. After the alchemy was finished, Granger's speed of refining the pill with the Phoenix Flame was obviously faster than Jian, and the finished pills were almost at the top level of the second-grade pills. Even Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, was amazed after observing it. You are the first person in Black Rock City to turn alchemy into art, Ms. Granger. Jian also succeeded. The second-grade elixir he refined was also top-notch, but because of the different beast fire, it was slightly inferior to Miss Granger's second-grade elixir. Jian also laughed when he learned that Granger used the Phoenix Flame. Granger, it seems that you don't intend to hide your strength. After Granger received the system task reward, she also laughed and said, there is no way. I am afraid that I will not pass the second-grade alchemist assessment. In fact, Granger could have passed even if she did not use the beast fire. It's just that the system option was her own choice. If she didn't choose this way, she could only choose to get a pair of socks or a cotton hat. Seeing the hat, Granger rarely recalled the green hat in the past. The level of the two alchemists has reached the pinnacle. It was the first time that Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, made such an evaluation. Jian immediately said modestly, President, please don't say that. We have just passed the second-grade alchemist assessment and cannot bear such an evaluation. Master Otto said, this is not a flattery. You are gifted and have a very unique beast fire. Your future achievements are limitless. Your future will be the next Dan Qingquan. In the Jiama Empire, if an alchemist can be compared with Dan Qingquan, it is simply the supreme honor. But Jian was not very happy, because he heard the old man of the ring say more than once, Dan Qingquan is a fart. Jian doesn't want his achievements as an alchemist to be a fart in the future. Granger's side is even more lively than Jian's. Miss Lin was so surprised that she couldn't speak, and pulled Granger to ask all kinds of questions. Even the quiet Zumi went to Granger to discuss alchemist knowledge. As for why they didn't come to Jian, first of all, there is a difference between men and women. Secondly, in their opinion, the moment Granger took out the Phoenix Flame, She was more powerful than Jian. Granger did not hide anything and answered all the questions that Ms. Lin Qingyun had. Granger's understanding of the path of alchemy was even higher than that of Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, and Master Otto. Even the medicine master in Jian's ring was surprised to hear Granger's lecture. This kind of alchemy thinking is unheard of. Who is this old alchemy monster who is Granger's teacher? Chapter 589, Ice Spirit Cold Spring. With their outstanding alchemist skills, Jian and Granger naturally obtained the second-grade alchemist certificate at the same time. Both of them are extraordinary figures, and their attitude towards the certificate is not bad. Unlike Miss Lin Qingyun, they are extremely envious of the certificate. It is naturally a big deal for the Black Rock City Alchemist Guild to certify 2 second-grade alchemists at the same time. Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, even wanted to invite Jian and Granger to the hotel for a good meal. At this time, Jian was thinking about leaving, although as an alchemist, he couldn't avoid making friends with some people. Jian undoubtedly didn't have such a mind. Miss Granger reminded Jian, "Jian, did you forget something?" Jian didn't expect Granger to say this suddenly. He thought about it and wanted to shake his head. Yao Lao in the ring suddenly reminded, Bingling Haquan, "Ask them if they have any information about this thing." Jian was stunned. Yao Lao's suggestion did not surprise Jian. What surprised him was that Ms. Granger could actually predict the future. This ability is really amazing. Granger didn't pay much attention to Jian's surprise. What she knew was far more terrifying than Jian imagined. Taking advantage of this moment when Jian and Granger were shining in the Alchemist Guild, Jian mentioned it to Master Otto and Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild. Master Otto fell into deep thought after hearing it. Jian didn't expect that these two important figures in the Alchemist Guild of Black Rock City actually had relevant information. Although the Ice Spirit Cold Spring is rare, it is not completely without relevant information. Follow me. Master Otto led the way and asked Jian and Granger to follow. When talking on the way, they mentioned Gut, a very unique person in Black Rock City. It is said that he is the junior brother of Gu He, the Dan King of the Gamma Empire. He has a lonely personality, but Master Otto happens to be his friend. Once I accidentally learned that Gut had collected a bottle. As for why Gut would collect such things, the reason is that he himself has a habit of collecting rare treasures. Then I'll trouble Master Otto to introduce me. Jian was humble. When asking for help, attitude is naturally very important. Master Otto smiled and said, Okay, you and Ms. Granger are both genius alchemists. I will still help you with this little favor. However, if you want to successfully obtain the Ice Spirit Cold Spring, Jian, I'm afraid it will be a bit troublesome. That Gut has a weird personality and is stubborn. If you want to obtain the Ice Spirit Cold Spring, you must use the same rare treasures. Jian was silent. He didn't think it was easy. In fact, from his 3-year journey from the Waste to today, none of the steps were easy. Instead of going to eat first, the group went directly to the place where Gut lived. Just from the remote place where Gut lived, it can be seen that this is not a place for normal people to stay. Miss Lin and Zumai also wanted to come to join in the fun, but naturally they were not allowed by Master Otto. Although Master Otto and the Gut Collector were familiar with each other, the Gut Collector didn't like other people to break into his home. Even Miss Granger made an exception. Jian was communicating with Master Otto all the way, but he did not forget to pay attention to Miss Granger. After all, in Jian's view, Miss Granger was also a very special person. At this moment, when they arrived at the place where the Collector Gut lived, Miss Granger's passive skill was immediately awakened. She suddenly stepped on something. She squatted down and picked it up. It was a large piece of gold. Interesting. I haven't picked up such pure gold for a long time. Yes, Miss Granger has always had a special skill that is different from ordinary people, which is to pick up good things. And this good thing must be picked up, otherwise it will inexplicably enter the pocket of clothes the next day. Even though Granger is now a godlike existence, this strange passive skill is still difficult to explain. Granger put away the large gold nugget. What she picked up is hers. However, after walking a few steps, Granger stepped on something again. What's going on? Is Gut's hut so special? Granger picked it up quietly again. It turned out to be a jade bottle. It was cold to the touch. Granger's heart moved automatically. After she opened it, she was slightly surprised. This is actually Ice Spirit Cold Spring. What the hell? Although Granger also needs this kind of thing, how could she pick it up so easily by picking things up? It was too easy. Diane, who was standing by, felt very embarrassed when he knew about it. In the original drama, Diane spent a huge price to obtain this small bottle of Ice Spirit Cold Spring. He even bargained with the old fox Guti for a long time before he could successfully obtain it. Granger did not intend to rob Diane of his opportunity. She guessed that her omnipotent system would provide corresponding selection task rewards. What Granger did not expect was that her passive ability of picking up good things made it so easy to pick it up. Diane seemed to notice Ms. Granger's strangeness. He quietly walked over and asked Granger, "What's wrong?" Granger did not hide it. "I just picked up a large piece of gold." Granger even took it out and showed it to Diane. Diane immediately looked strange. Granger could pick up gold anywhere? What kind of good luck is this? However, Diane seemed to recall that when he was at the Zhao family in Yun City, that Hermione seemed to have this strange skill. That time, Diane was short of money and wanted to borrow money from Hermione. Unexpectedly, the woman easily picked up a large bag of gold coins and lent it to him. Although this incident happened a long time ago, Diane still remembered it. Sure enough, this Granger is that Hermione, otherwise the two of them would have the same good luck. "Congratulations, you can pick up money while walking," Granger replied. "Sometimes, in addition to picking up money, you can also pick up some other things." Diane was thinking about how to get the Ice Spirit Cold Spring in a while, and didn't care about the other things Granger said. If Diane knew that the Ice Spirit Cold Spring that he had been thinking about was just picked up by Granger casually, I don't know how he would feel. The three of them entered Guti's special house together, and then, a very unexpected scene appeared. Fire Heart 7-leaf flower, blood crystal grass, blue rock heart stone. All kinds of rare treasures were placed in Gut's house. He was indeed a collector as described by Master Otto. He really had a lot of collections. Granger also considered whether to pick up all the good things here, but after thinking about it, she decided not to rush. She would come again when she was about to leave Black Rock City. "I don't welcome outsiders here." Gut was indeed eccentric and had a very bad attitude. Even though he and Master Otto were friends, he was very dissatisfied with the arrival of Diane and Granger. Master Otto quickly explained that Granger and Diane were geniuses who had just passed the second-grade alchemist assessment today. Oh, Gut, the weird old man, was surprised. He looked at Diane and Granger carefully and asked about their ages. They were 19 years old and second-grade alchemists. This kind of talent was indeed a genius among the alchemists. Even if you are a genius, you can't just come in here. Gut's attitude was still not very good. Chapter 590 Unprecedented. In the original drama, Diane wanted to obtain the Ice Spirit Cold Spring, and the price he paid was not small. It was obtained by exchanging a bottle of companion purple crystal source. This is a good thing. Even Yao Lao said it was rare. In the original drama, the companion purple crystal source was obtained by Diane alone, but here it was shared by Miss Granger and Diane. And Granger got more. Diane didn't have much on him. If he had to exchange a bottle for the Ice Spirit Cold Spring now, then Diane would have even less companion purple crystal source. Granger originally planned not to participate. After all, the Ice Spirit Cold Spring she needed had just been successfully picked up by picking up things. However, the system option task popped up at this time. It's still an important moment. Option 1. Secretly help Diane. Use the simplest transaction method to let Diane obtain Guti's Ice Spirit Cold Spring. Completion of the task rewards basic attributes +1. Option 2. Destroy the transaction between Diane and Guti, so that Diane will never be able to obtain the Ice Spirit Cold Spring. Completing the task will reward you with 10 silver toothbrushes. Option 3. Don't care, just come to join in the fun. Completing the task will reward you with the exclusive attribute Silence, +1. Option 3 is simple, but Granger doesn't want the Silence attribute. I feel that this attribute is useless. Option 2 is also meaningless, only the correct answer is option 1. In life, choices are always more important than hard work. Only when you make the right choice will your efforts be valuable. Master Otto is still worried about Zhao Yan. This gut has a weird personality and his attitude today is also bad. I'm afraid Zhao Yan will return empty-handed. Sure enough, when Zhao Yan politely mentioned that he needed Ice Spirit Cold Spring, Gut's attitude immediately changed. He collected these treasures, none of which was easy. If there is a treasure to sell to him, then he will naturally be very happy. But if on the contrary, if you want to get a treasure from him, then don't even think about it. Gut was about to refuse and start to drive him away. Granger chose task 1, so he took action. She seemed to raise her arm lightly, but in fact, she was already releasing advanced magic. The terrifying magic energy immediately invaded Gut's brain. Gut was stunned for a moment. Human thinking is a very wonderful thing. In Inception, there is a method of changing other people's thinking, which is very troublesome, but Granger used advanced magic, which was much simpler. Then, Gut's performance was shocking, especially Master Otto, who knew Gut inside and out, was full of disbelief. You want the Ice Spirit Cold Spring? Diane nodded. He was ready to wait for the other party to put forward extremely harsh conditions. However, Guti laughed uncontrollably, and then said, "It's not impossible. I don't like making friends in my life, but today, I feel that you and I are destined to be together, and I may need your help in the future. Today, I will give you this opportunity for the first time." As he said this, Guti found the Bingling Cold Spring in front of Master Otto, who was completely unable to understand, and handed it to Zhao Yan, saying, "I will only take a symbolic gold coin from you. Are you willing?" Not to mention Master Otto, even Zhao Yan himself was completely stunned. So simple, so easy, it's incredible! Teacher, what's going on? Is there a trick? Just now, Guti asked Zhao Yan's teacher, and when he heard that it was Yao Lao, Guti clearly said that he didn't know him. So, Guti was naturally not doing it for Yao Lao's sake. But if it was Zhao Yan's own face, would Zhao Yan have such a big face? The old man in the ring also sent a voice message to Zhao Yan. "I don't know, it's indeed a little strange. Since you can exchange such a good thing for one gold coin, you should agree quickly, don't wait for him to regret it." "I understand." Zhao Yan did not neglect it, and quickly accepted the Ice Spirit Cold Spring, took out a bag of gold coins and said, "I can't accept the Ice Spirit Cold Spring for nothing. Here are 1,000 gold coins." Guti refused. "I am a man of my words. 1 gold coin, 1 gold coin." Guti took out a gold coin from the purse and returned the rest to Zhao Yan. Zhao Yan didn't know what to say. At this time, Master Otto also woke up from the shock and said, "Zhao Yan, it's rare for Guti to be so generous. It's the first time I've seen him since I met him. Just accept it." Zhao Yan no longer refused, and after accepting it, he said thank you. In the future, if there is a need for help, Zhao Yan will definitely help if he can spare time. This favor is much more important than 1 gold coin. After the transaction was over, Zhao Yan still felt like he was dreaming. When Master Otto went back and told Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, about this matter, the other party was also amazed. When did this gut become so generous? This is the Ice Spirit Cold Spring. It's not just a spring water. Zhao Yan was very happy. This time, he not only obtained the 2nd grade alchemist certificate, but also obtained the Ice Spirit Cold Spring at the cost of only 1 gold coin, which was also very gratifying. Just when Zhao Yan and Granger were about to leave, Frank, the president of the Alchemist Guild, suddenly said something more important. "Alchemist Conference?" This is a famous event reported in the Gamma Empire. At that time, the young generation of alchemist geniuses from the entire Gamma Empire will gather. Not only is it extremely lively, if you can win and get a place, it is not only a great honor, but also you can get endless benefits. No joke. The Alchemist Conference is like the most dazzling stage of the Gamma Empire. If you can walk out of it, you will naturally gain great fame and prove your own strength. Almost all the young generation of alchemists will participate and try it. Diane was also somewhat tempted when he heard about the benefits. He said he would consider it. After leaving the Alchemist Guild, Diane asked Granger beside him, "Will you participate in the Alchemist Conference?" Granger teased, "If I participate, I'm afraid someone can only try his best and can only get second place." Diane understood what Granger meant, but he didn't admit defeat and said, "Don't be so confident. If we compete, it's not certain who will win or lose." "Who gave you the courage?" Granger felt funny in her heart, but she didn't slap her face so quickly. After all, Granger didn't necessarily do everything according to her own ideas. The system option tasks largely influenced Granger's approach. It is also possible that if she loses the game, she can get more rewards and richer rewards. Granger doesn't mind putting interests first. So, Granger didn't refute Diane at this moment. If it comes to real strength, two Dianes combined are not Granger's opponent, but often the result does not depend entirely on strength. It still depends on interests. I'm leaving Black Rock City so soon. Diane still had some feelings. He felt that he had stayed in the Magic Beast mountain range in Qingshan Town for a little longer. As for the larger and more majestic Black Rock City, if Granger hadn't dragged him shopping on the first day, I'm afraid Diane would have just wandered around the Alchemist Guild in this city and then left. Granger teased him. "Why, are you a little reluctant to leave Ms. Linf and the beautiful snow charm?" Chapter 591 Thick-Winged Bird. Diane said bluntly, "I think, compared to me, someone is more reluctant to leave those two beautiful girls." "Who are you implying?" "Granger has always been a gentleman's friendship, and there is nothing she is reluctant to leave. Whether it is in Hogwarts, facing Harry Potter and Ron Weasley, or in the Marvel world, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, etc., Granger has nothing to be reluctant to leave. Mainly in the world of novels, the beauties here are more perfect. It is inevitable that Miss Granger has put some extra thoughts on it, but she is not reluctant to leave anyone. After all, there is an old saying, this world can still turn around without anyone. Everyone is not as important as imagined. Even Granger is the same. She believes that whether it is the wizard world, the Marvel world, or the Key continent, it can still function without her. Her arrival is just the icing on the cake. The next step is to choose a means of transportation to leave Black Rock City. When you come to Black Rock City, choose to walk, but you don't have to leave Black Rock City. Diane, let's take a plane. Plane? This strange yet familiar word made Diane fall into a brief memory. In the previous life on Earth, airplanes were well known to everyone, but on the Key continent, this word was unfamiliar to many natives. Diane pretended not to understand. He did not want to reveal Granger's identity. As long as he pretended not to know that Granger was Hermione, then Granger would have to wear a veil. Beauty is a disaster. Diane knew how beautiful Hermione was. If Granger did not wear a veil, with her beauty, she would definitely cause a lot of trouble. Diane came out to become stronger, not to get jealous every day because of women. Granger suddenly mentioned the plane, and he let it slip. Every day when he was with Diane, he let down his guard. However, what surprised Granger was that she could clearly feel that Diane understood, but he pretended not to understand. It seems that this brat also has a smooth mind. Granger was too lazy to understand what Diane was thinking, so he ignored him. Thick-Winged Bird is a large flying beast in Black Rock City, very big. A thick-winged bird can seat many people, and even several wooden houses. Thick-Winged Bird is a docile monster, so it is used by humans as an airplane on Key continent. As long as you pay, you can ride it. Granger and Diane both rode it for the first time, and it felt quite spectacular. When the thick-winged bird began to take off, it was also very stable. If you are careful, you don't have to worry about falling. The flying height of the thick-winged bird, it also reached 3,000 meters. At this height, it is already a bit cold. However, everyone is a cultivator, so this cold can still be resisted. Those who can afford to ride the thick-winged bird flying beast are all rich people, or star professions such as alchemists. Therefore, some special services will be provided here. There is a description in the original drama, but Granger here is a beautiful girl, and she has a high-level magic, so all the special services disappear. This flying beast thick-winged bird has become a simple transport plane. It was Yan's first time to sit on it, and he didn't understand it. He didn't feel anything strange. But Yan didn't waste time. He asked Yao Lao to refine the blood lotus pill with the things he collected in Black Rock City. Yao Lao felt that it was a bit unreliable to refine it on the thick-winged bird. However, thinking that Yan was anxious to get it, he didn't say much and directly took out the bone spirit cold fire to refine it. The blood lotus pill was a 5th grade pill, which was extraordinary. Yao Lao's current strength had not reached the peak of the past. After all, he was still a soul body. Yao Lao spent 2.5 days to refine this pill, which was not a short time. During this time, Yan did not chat with Granger or enjoy the scenery at an altitude of 3,000 meters. Instead, he stayed by Yao Lao's side all the time, until the 5th grade pill was successful. The terrifying medicinal gas spread out. The people who were riding the flying beast thick-winged bird outside were all greedy. Oh my god, this is a strange phenomenon that only occurs when a 5th grade elixir is used. Someone is actually refining a 5th grade elixir here. Among the group of people, there were Harang and Tagut, and they were about to take action. Granger came over yawning, and said in a clear and pleasant voice, "Hey, calm down a little. Use your pig brains and think about it carefully. Can a pharmacist who can refine a 5th grade elixir be dealt with by you trash?" Granger just couldn't figure it out. Even if the 5th grade elixir was attractive, didn't these people have brains? There is no shortage of good things in any world, but all of this has a prerequisite. That is, are you qualified to get it? If you don't have the ability, you'd better go to bed early, and you can have anything in your dreams. Don't listen to her. She is in the same group as the people in that room. Wealth and honor are sought in danger, while the people inside are refining the elixir. Let's kill them. This group of pig-brain people felt that if they were strong, they could completely transform their fighting spirit into wings, and they would not need to ride the flying beast thick-winged bird. Even if a 5th grade alchemist has no ability to protect himself, he is just like a piece of fat meat that can be taken by anyone. However, they don't even think about it. How small is this possibility? In Black Rock City, 2nd grade alchemists are very impressive, not to mention 5th grade alchemists. Forget it. Since you want to die, I won't stop you. Granger chose the mission, which was to turn a deaf ear to what was happening outside the window. So, she not only stopped meddling in other people's business, but also returned to her room and closed the doors and windows. Yan was a little confused. Why did Granger not take action after just a few words? Yan didn't know how strong Granger was, but if Granger wanted to poison him, no one of the small fish present could escape. Yao Lao was refining medicine, and these guys who were greedy for money wanted to take advantage of the situation. This made Yan furious. You know, in order to obtain the materials for the 5th grade pill, the blood lotus pill, Yan had spent a lot of effort, and it needs Yao Lao to refine it, otherwise it is impossible. This group of smashers who just tried on the flying beast thick-winged bird want to kill people and rob for something so hard to get. Kill. Yan here is a martial arts fanatic, and his killing intention is even stronger than in the original play. In the original play, Yan had to find many reasons to convince himself to kill someone. Here, Yan doesn't need it. Since the other party is greedy, he is an enemy. And facing the enemy, there is only one way: kill! Kill them all! Yan's move is ruthless, and the first move is a killing move. Seeing that Yan is young, the other party is a little careless and did not expect that this young man has reached the level of a fighting master. This is not the key. The key is that Yan's fighting master level is really killing. If he doesn't do it, it's fine. If he does it, people will die. Yan directly used the purple fire, an ability he has only recently acquired. The purple fire was not as powerful as Yao Lao's bone spirit cold fire, and it could not burn the enemy to ashes in an instant. But the sudden hot flames could also burn the enemy's skin and flesh. The screams continued. After Granger saw the system prompt that the task was completed, he opened the door and window and walked out. Outside, the bodies of the enemies had been thrown down by the cruel Yan, leaving only the residual blood on the ground. which was a bit shocking. Chapter 592 Desert City. Granger came out just in time, and the murderous aura on Jian had not yet subsided. TSK, TSK, TSK. Granger just smacked his lips, and did not comment on Jian's killing spree. Granger even pretended not to see why the scent of the 5th grade elixir came from Jian's room, and did not even ask. Jian looked at Granger, and slightly restrained the murderous aura on his body. He was even ready to deal with Granger's questions. However, this woman did not ask at all. It was as if she did not see it, which made Jian feel uncomfortable. She is really worthy of it. After the old medicine was refined, Jian went in. When Jian came out again, the blood stains outside had been cleaned up. Seeing Jian looking over, Granger explained, "The scenery here is so beautiful, the bloody smell is a bit of a spoiler." Well, Jian nodded, and he was about to ask Granger how he did it. The thick-winged bird was quite big, and Granger was able to clean it so quickly, which was something that ordinary people could not do. However, Granger ignored Jian and went back to the house. Things that can be solved with a magic spell are still very simple for Granger, and she didn't lie. The smell of human blood is not pleasant. The water magic washed it and the air became much clearer. Time passed by and they came to Musheng, a city that must be passed to the Tiger Desert. Jian walked out of the house. After knowing that Jian had killed people, Yao Lao did not blame him. Since those people dared to have evil intentions, they should also bear the consequences of being killed. However, when mentioning Granger, Yao Lao hesitated and said, "This Granger feels like I have known her before. Very mysterious." Jian smiled and said, "Yao Lao, there are still many extraordinary women in this world." Yao Lao did not pursue it too much. "I have seen one in the Zhao family before. Now this Granger is also one." Jian came to the door of Granger's house. Before he knocked on the door, Granger came out of the house. In the sky, the wind was strong, blowing Granger's long skirt. Even though he hadn't seen Granger's appearance, Jian could be sure that she was a top beauty. "Granger, I think we can go down early." Jian's meaning was very clear. After killing so many people, it might be troublesome to go down normally. "Okay," Granger said and jumped down directly. Jian touched his nose with some embarrassment. This woman is really fierce. Jian also jumped down, spread his wings, and glided down. Musheng is very different from Hin City. Here, it's all yellow sand at a glance, and it's hot when you breathe. "Wait a minute." Granger suddenly grabbed Jian. Jian asked curiously, "What's wrong?" He looked towards Musheng, and Granger said, "Look, the guards at the door are checking very strictly." "Are you still worried about this?" Jian felt that Granger was the kind of woman who was fearless. There was probably nothing in the world that Granger dared not do. Granger said, "It's not about worrying or not. Don't you think we have something that we can use?" Jian didn't understand what Granger meant for a while. It wasn't until Granger took out the alchemist's clothes and the badge of the 2nd grade alchemist that Jian finally realized. "So that's what you mean." Granger smiled and said, "After all, it's hard to get this, so we have to use it." "That's right." When Granger and Jian put on the professional clothes of the alchemists, they looked very handsome. Whether the clothes look good or not depends mainly on the person. Granger and Jian's physiques are naturally very strong. The guards of Musheng are very strict and rude to people entering the city, but when they saw Granger and Jian, they immediately changed their faces. "Respected alchemist, please come in." Alchemist is definitely the most respected profession in Qi continent, no doubt about it. Not to mention that Granger and Jian are 2nd grade alchemists. Even if they are 1st grade, they are still masters. Jian and Granger looked at each other and laughed. After entering the city, the biggest difference between Musheng and other cities is that the clothing styles of the people here are bolder and look very exotic. Granger's exotic style is reflected on her face. After all, after coming to Qi continent, Granger still looks like Hermione Granger, but Granger still dresses very conservatively, and it is almost impossible for others to sneak a peek at her cheapness, except for beautiful women. For example, Alexander can sleep with Granger. Boys can't see any cheapness at all, because Granger is a lady. But Musheng is very special. The people here look very exotic from the way they dress, and the local men are used to it and don't care. People like Yan who come from other places are naturally feasting their eyes. Don't look at me like that, I'm not that kind of person. Yan saw Granger looking at him and immediately denied it. Granger teased him. I haven't even opened my mouth yet, how do you know what I'm going to say? Yan smiled bitterly and said, do I still need to guess? Your eyes can understand everything. Granger didn't say more on this topic. She looked at the newly popped up system dialog box in front of her. Option 1. Take Yan to get a Musheng exclusive hairstyle. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Complete the task and get the exclusive attribute, hairdressing, +1. Option 2. Let Yan go around alone, and look around yourself. Complete the task and get a bucket of mineral water. Option 3. Follow the map and lead Yan to Haibodong. Complete the task and get the basic attribute +1. It seems like there are 3 options, but if interests come first, then there are actually no other choices. Although option 1 doesn't seem like a funny option, it also reminds Ms. Granger of the time when she was at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. At that time, she was still quite naughty, mainly because the system option was naughty, and helped Harry Potter and Ron get a shamat hairstyle. Looking back, it was quite interesting. Here, there is no need to help Yan. Option 2. It seems to give Yan freedom, but in fact the reward is very random. Only option 1 is left, and this plot is authentic. Granger suddenly smiled at Yan and said, do you want to experience more opportunities? Yan looked at Granger in great confusion and asked curiously, can opportunities be chosen at will? Granger stretched out her snow-white fingers. Even if the sun was scorching, she would not be tanned. Of course, ordinary people can't do that, but we are not ordinary people. Granger's words made Yan fall into thought, and then he said, well, tell me, how can we get opportunities? Granger led Yan and said, come on, follow me. The buildings in Musheng are not particularly spectacular, but they are not small. Granger followed the route prompted by the system and led him to a grocery store run by Ice Emperor Haibodong. Yan followed honestly all the way and did not talk nonsense. He knew that Granger must have her intention to bring him here. Looking at this seemingly ordinary grocery store, Yan did not notice anything different here for a while. However, Yan did not ask more questions. He couldn't ask in front of the boss, hello, do you sell opportunities here? Of course. This is not allowed. Chapter 593 Haibodong. Haibodong is a big shot. He was once one of the top 10 masters of the Jiama Empire. However, after some things, he can only exert the strength of Ling. In other words, Haibodong is actually at the same level as Miss Granger. Of course, Granger will not show it on the surface. Yan naturally had some ideas because of Granger's advanced disclosure. After entering this special-looking grocery store, he looked around to see where the opportunity was, and Haibodong also observed the two carefully. Alchemist, not a Loki yet. What are they doing here? Granger pretended to check the map to see the terrain of Musheng and the Tiger Desert. Yan suddenly found something. He was surprised and communicated with the old medicine man. No way, teacher. Look, what is this? Yan turned out something that looked like parchment from a pile of groceries. His heart was excited, and his hands were shaking. Is this the map of the Pure Lotus Demon Fire? Why is it here? Yao Lao was also stunned. The last piece was found on a corpse in a cave in the Warcraft Mountains. At that time, Yan thought it was a secret fighting skill manual, but Yao Lao said it was a treasure map. But it was incomplete, with only one piece. Unexpectedly, the second piece was found so quickly. Yan and Yao Lao were surprised and looked at Miss Granger, who pretended to be indifferent. Why did she know that there was an opportunity here? Too scary. Yan understood for the first time why Yao Lao said that this strange woman was terrifying. When you think about it carefully, it was really terrifying. In the original play, Yan bargained with the store owner. Here, Yan had a strong murderous aura. After all, he had just killed many people on the thick-winged bird. Here, Yan was not polite. He felt that this opportunity was brought to him by Miss Granger, so there was no need to negotiate with the store owner. He just put away the treasure map. Yan's behavior not only made the store owner Haibodong furious, but also surprised Granger. When did this stinky boy become a robber? Aren't you afraid of being beaten? As expected, Hai Bodong was not someone who could be easily bullied. He immediately got furious and shouted, "What are you doing? Do you think I'm old and blind? Stealing things? Boy, I see that you look talented, but you do things that are shameful." Yan, of course, did not admit it and said, "Of course, I didn't know about it." "Old gentleman, please don't slander me." Quite shameless. Yan acted calmly. This treasure map of the pure lotus demon fire was a priceless treasure. The owner of this shop obviously didn't know the value of it and put it in the pile of groceries, wasting a natural treasure. If the owner took it seriously, Yan would naturally be willing to spend money to buy it. On the contrary, the owner's behavior made Yan very dissatisfied. Since others don't take it seriously, then just take it away. Faced with Yan's unexpected behavior, the system immediately popped up options in front of Granger. Option 1. Expose Yan in public and let him know that his behavior is very bad. Complete the task and get the exclusive attribute, Justice, +1. Option 2. Help Yan to kill Hai Bodong. You threw such a good thing into the groceries. You deserve to be taken away by others. Complete the task and get the exclusive attribute, Villain, +1. Option 3. Tell Yan the truth. Hai Bodong deliberately used the treasure map to lure out a senior alchemist to help him make medicine. Complete the task and get the basic attribute +1. The three options are quite interesting. Old man, don't be angry first. If you think it was my friend who took your things, you can show evidence. Miss Granger's words were obviously biased towards Yan. Hai Bodong was very angry and said, "Both of you are not good people. Hand over my treasure map and get out immediately. You are not welcome here." Hai Bodong also heard some rumors about the treasure map and knew that the strange fire marked on it was an irresistible treasure for senior alchemists. Ordinary alchemists probably don't know what strange fire is. In addition, Hai Bodong thought that he was once a Huang strong man, and even if he only had Link strength now, he could still be considered a strong man. Therefore, he dared to put the treasure map outside directly, just to catch a big fish. However, after so many years, Hai Bodong did not catch a big fish, but instead attracted Yan and Granger, two small shrimps, who were worthless at first glance. Moreover, they stole it without any courtesy. How could Hai Bodong not be angry? Granger said, "Old man, it's a bit too much to say that. We may have to fight." As he said that, Granger directly poisoned the store without any martial ethics. The poisonous smoke quickly filled the entire grocery store. Before leaving, Granger did not forget to take away some maps. Of course, Granger was more civilized than Yan. When she took the map, she left a few gold coins. Damn it. Damn bastard. Hai Bodong had the strength of Ling, so how could he be easily poisoned? He angrily used his powerful fighting spirit to blow away the poisonous smoke, and quickly chased after them. "Hurry up, this old guy is going to get angry." Granger pretended to be worried about Yan's safety and pulled him to the sparsely populated area in the desert. A big battle was inevitable soon. Fighting in the city is naturally not good. Granger always considers things carefully. "Little beast, dare to run." Hai Bodong was extremely angry. These two little thieves were not particularly strong, but they were very fast and had fighting spirit wings. This is an ability that only Ling Duang can have. After careful observation, it was found that the two used flying fighting skills, not authentic fighting spirit wings. "This old immortal dared to scold us. Beat him up." Granger turned around and rushed towards Hai Bodong. Yan was a little amused. This old man was not weak, and it would be best if he didn't fight. But Granger actually turned back to attack. "Alas, I really don't want to care about her." But Yan also turned back. As a Chi, he naturally couldn't confront Ling head-on. He immediately notified Yao Lao. "Teacher, take action." Yao Lao also knew that when he was refining the 5th grade elixir blood lotus pill on the thick-winged bird, the little girl Granger already knew him. At this moment, there was no need to worry too much about exposing anything. Moreover, Yao Lao also knew that this Granger also had hidden strength. Granger once again threw poison without martial ethics, which naturally caused Hai Bodong to curse. "Poison, little girl, who do you think I am? The Ice Emperor?" Low-level poisons had no effect on him. However, This time Granger's poison was also wrapped in a phoenix flame. The scorching temperature directly burned Hai Bodong and screamed, "What kind of flame is this? Strange fire?" "Not really." Hai Bodong finally started to take it seriously. This man and woman didn't look simple. At this time, Yao Lao also succeeded in possessing him. In an instant, Diane burst out with a tyrannical aura, even more powerful than Hai Bodong. "My disciple took something from you, that was to give you face. You still chased after him. Don't be ungrateful." Yao Lao was indeed biased enough. "Humphrey, who do you think I am?" "The Ice Emperor," Hai Bodong said as he released his powerful chi power. Ice Spirit Armor, Zhuanbing Rotation Kill. In the hot desert, cold ice appeared, crystal clear, extremely spectacular, and the surrounding temperature also dropped rapidly. Ling strong, so terrifying. However, Yao Lao was not in a hurry to sacrifice his bone spirit cold fire. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 594, So Horrible. Ice vs. Strange Fire. The outcome is obvious. Hai Bodong was defeated. And it was not a loss at all, because the opponent he faced was an old monster like Yao Lao. Strange fire? Miss Granger's phoenix flame just now had already shocked him. Now he was even more surprised. This was the real strange fire. The ice that specifically restrained him made Hai Bodong unable to resist at this moment. Trapped alive. Kill him. Diane was now very murderous. After all, he had encountered too many mortal enemies along the way, and it had always been others who had troubled him. For example, the treasure in the Warcraft mountain range was clearly an opportunity for him. Dao Yixian and Granger, but a group of bandits jumped out halfway. They were still chasing Jian all over the mountain. This feud made Jian kill hundreds of people. This number was already very terrifying. The same was true on the thick-winged bird. He had worked hard to collect the medicinal materials for the Blood Lotus pill, and asked Yao Lao to help refine it. It was a 5th-grade pill, and only Yao Lao could do it. But then a group of guys who wanted to kill people and rob goods jumped out. What can be done? Kill. This time, Diane admitted that he was a little unfair and took the treasure map without saying a word. But, why can Diane only be bullied, and he can't bully others? Besides, it was the old man who didn't take it seriously. Such an important treasure map was thrown in the pile of groceries. If Diane didn't take it away, it would be unfair to him for being so careless. The old man turned out to be a Ling strongman, and he chased after him and shouted to kill. Since he was already angry, it's better to kill him directly and put an end to it. Yao Lao is not a good person either. Diane is obviously different from Jian in the original drama because of the influence of Wu Kai. In the original drama, Diane also killed countless people, but when he didn't kill people, his personality was too normal. In fact, this is impossible. The Wolfhead mercenary group was almost killed by Jian. How could it not have an impact on human nature? The rivers and lakes of the continent are bloody and violent. Whoever is strong can kill the weak at will. In this environment, it is almost impossible to guarantee normal human nature. Yao Lao agreed to kill Hai Bodong, regardless of whether he was a Huang or not. But so what? It can't be like in Journey to the West, because the Wolfhead mercenary group is a white bone spirit and has no backing. Just beat him to death with a stick. Hai Bodong used to be a Huang and has a backing, so let him live. However, at this time, Granger suddenly spoke up. Wait a minute. Although this old man is indeed a little ignorant and took the initiative to chase out to die, but we are also wrong first. Diane said a little strangely. Granger, you don't still care about the so-called justice. For the sake of profit, killing and robbing is too normal in the Qi continent. If Granger is a White Lotus, it would be a bit annoying. Granger replied, of course, I'm just being reasonable. This old man claims to be the Ice Emperor. Judging from his ice fighting skills, he should have been the Ice Emperor Hai Bodong, one of the top 10 strong men in the Jiama Empire. Diane finally stopped. He knew Granger was not an ordinary woman. She was able to accurately tell the other party's identity, so her words were worth listening to. Haibodong was a little shocked. He was shocked that Jian almost killed him just now. That feeling was not wrong. If Miss Granger hadn't spoken, he would have been dead now. Thank you. Haibodong was originally a proud person, but he also saw Granger's specialness, and he also wanted to ease the relationship between the two sides. Initially, because Jian stole the treasure map, he became angry and chased him. The fight escalated to the desire to kill the other party. At this moment, Granger proposed to spare his life. If Haibodong still didn't know how to go down the ladder, then he would not be a human being. Even if he was a strong man, he deserved to be killed. You know, in the Qi continent, the strong are respected, and there is no fairness. Talk about fairness? Show your fists first. Jian and Yao Lao used their strength to beat Haibodong's arrogance and anger. Since the old gentleman has admitted his identity, then this former Huang should not be so ignorant as to put such an important map directly in the pile of groceries. Granger's words touched Haibodong's heart. He sighed. Just now, I was angry and rushed to my head. I was disrespectful in my words. Please blame me. Haibodong was not stupid. He knew that when Jian and Granger were escaping just now, he didn't want to fight. It was because he called the other party little beast in anger. This made Granger turn around immediately and asked Jian to beat him. This was not only a beating, but he almost killed him directly. Jian's mood also calmed down. She looked at Granger and asked, "So, what do you want to say?" Granger smiled and said, "I think old man Haibodong wants to use this treasure map as bait to fish. He wants to catch big fish." At this moment, Jian finally understood. With this explanation, it made sense. This Ice Emperor Haibodong wanted to catch big fish, but the bait was stolen by a small shrimp like Jian, so he was naturally very angry. It seems that Haibodong wanted to catch a big fish like Yao Lao. So, Haibodong succeeded by accident. Jian continued to guess that Granger asked Jian to go to that grocery store, saying that there was an opportunity, and then he saw the treasure map. When he was about to kill someone, Granger stopped him. Could it be that she wanted Yao Lao to help Haibodong? Jian had already guessed it, but he still didn't understand what Granger's purpose was, because Jian would never know that there was a transparent dialogue box in front of Granger that only she could see, with 3 to 5 options on it. Every step Granger took was based on the choice. Congratulations on completing the task. Reward basic attribute +1. That's right. Leaving Haibodong's life is worth at most +1 attribute point to Granger. It's that simple. There is no complicated conspiracy theory. As for the reasoning just now, Granger just wanted to be more reasonable. You can't say that Granger relies on the system to know everything. Miss Granger is really smart. I misjudged you. Please forgive me. Haibodong was very humble. He was not as skilled as others, which was right. Mr. Haibodong, you don't have to be so humble. You were once a Huang and now you have Ling power. You shouldn't be so humble, Granger said. Haibodong smiled bitterly. You are not ordinary people. One of you has a terrifying flame. The other one is not only stronger than me, but also has a terrifying strange fire. Besides, you are still so young. I don't need to guess how terrifying the power behind you is. Comparison is the thief of anger. Even though Haibodong is one of the top 10 masters of the Jiama Empire, he is not stupid. This Qi continent is too big. Above the Huang there is the Duzong, above the Duzong there is the Zun, and above the Zun there are the Semi-Saint and Daishin. When the power is stronger than you, it is always right to be humble. Jian no longer had the killing intent and said, "Okay, I admit that I took the treasure map, but I want to know who Senior Haibodong wants to lure out." Haibodong saw that Jian's terrifying aura was gone, and he probably guessed that the current Qi level of strength was Jian's true strength. Haibodong smiled bitterly and said, "In fact, what I'm waiting for is a high-level alchemist with strange fire. God will not let down those who work hard, and I finally waited for it, and it's the teacher you just attacked." Chapter 595, The Sealing Curse of the Snake. Haibodong's words came from the heart, and only he knew how hard his life was and how many expectations he had. Jian was not someone who would be moved by a few words from others. After hearing this, Jian said bluntly, "Senior Haibodong, Transactions have always been mutual. If you expect this treasure map to be exchanged for the selfless help of a senior alchemist, I'm afraid it won't work. Hai Bodong smiled and said, if the little brother is willing to help for free, I am a little worried. Transactions are based on mutual help. The two who were fighting just now were like old friends who had not seen each other for many years. This is also because Hai Bodong was once a Huang strongman, and this kind of person can provide value to Yan. First of all, a treasure map of the pure lotus demon fire was naturally given to Yan for free. Hai Bodong knew that the chance of him getting it back was almost zero, and he wanted the senior alchemist with the strange fire to refine the 6th grade elixir, but he still lacked the most important medicinal ingredient, that is, the sand mandragora. Hai Bodong has been looking for it for many years but has not found any trace. He hopes that Yan and his mysterious teacher can help. Of course, Hai Bodong will also provide new rewards. As far as I know, the treasure map should be one of many. If you don't collect all of them, it doesn't mean much. Hai Bodong took out a new treasure map and threw it to Yan, saying, this is the information about the second strange fire that I have collected in the Tigger Desert over the years, and I have marked 3 places. It is very likely that the strange fire is in one of these 3 places. This news shocked Zhao Yan. He couldn't help but look at Miss Granger, the instigator beside him. It was Miss Granger who brought Zhao Yan here at first, saying that there was an opportunity here. As a result, this old man Hai Bodong is really not simple. In the years when his Huang cultivation was reduced to Dling, he has been dormant in mushing. Now he has not only collected a treasure map of the pure lotus demon fire, but also explored another one by himself, and successfully locked 3 places. Since it is Senior Hai Bodong's intention, Yan, you should accept it, Granger suggested when he saw Yan looking at him. You two can be said to have known each other through fighting, and there are still many areas for mutual cooperation in the future. Yes, the unspoken rules in Journey to the West are also being played out all the time on this key continent, for enemies like the Wolfhead mercenary group, which have no background and the strongest enemy is only at the level of Master. They will be directly killed without leaving a single piece of armor. As for Senior Hai Bodong, who was originally at Huang, it is easy to say, if you can cooperate with an existence of this level, it will be more valuable than killing him directly. After Yan looked at it, there were indeed 3 places with small flames marked on the map. This special hungry map is hand-painted at a glance. From the brush strokes and extremely detailed details, it can be seen that Hai Bodong, as a former Huang, is indeed not simple. Okay, I will accept this detailed map of the Tigger Desert. I will definitely help Senior pay attention to the matter of the sand modula. This time, Yan and Hai Bodong completely let go of the previous fight. The 2 sides were equal. Yan asked, I have a question. I'm curious about why Senior Hai Bodong, who was once one of the top 10 masters of the Jiama Empire and at Huang, is now. Why is he only Dling strength now? Otherwise, even if Yao Lao was possessed just now, it would be difficult to win so easily. Unless that Ms. Granger also shows her trump card. Yan doesn't believe that Granger only has the strength on the surface. Hai Bodong replied bitterly, alas, the trouble I caused when I was young and hot-tempered. It turned out that in order to investigate the situation of the strange fire, he accidentally fought with Queen Medusa of the Tigger Desert. This Queen Medusa is not a simple character. She is not only extremely beautiful, but also the first among the top 10 masters of the Jiama Empire. Hai Bodong knew that he couldn't beat him, but he was young and hot-tempered at the time, thinking that he could more or less fight a few moves. He never thought that Queen Medusa would completely seal his lifelong cultivation with the snake sealing curse, and directly dropped from Huang to Dling level. Until now, he has not broken this domineering seal, but he finally found a way to crack it, which was the 6th grade elixir, which required a senior alchemist with a strange fire to help refine. The conditions were extremely harsh. Even the precious medicinal materials for refining this kind of elixir were lacking. Looking back on this half of my life, not only was it wasted, but it also made people sigh endlessly. Yan was also filled with emotion when he heard it. Even for a Huang strongman, it was not all smooth sailing. Such a strong man should have been dominating the Jiama Empire, but now he can only hide in this desert city and dare not go back. The former Huang now only has the strength of a Dling. Haibodong also has to save face. How dare he go back? If there is a way to help the senior, I will definitely help with the teacher. Yan said sincerely, although the heart is sinister, and he can't trust the other party completely. But since the other party has provided the treasure map of 2 kinds of strange fire, Yan can't be stingy. So I finally have hope. Over the years, Haibodong has been looking forward to it, but what he has waited for is only despair day after day. Now that they finally saw hope, they couldn't help but sigh. Haibodong didn't suggest inviting Jian and Granger to the hotel for a meal. After all, in the Jiama Empire, the drinking culture was not particularly popular. Everyone was a strong man, and the ultimate goal was to continuously improve their strength. After leaving Haibodong, Jian and Granger continued to go deep into the Tiger Desert. Jian was filled with emotion. In fact, I came to the Tiger Desert to gain experience and become stronger, and to find the strange fire. Jian did not hide it from Granger. He knew that Granger was not an ordinary woman, and he was willing to reveal some secrets to her. Granger smiled and said, "So, now you have such a detailed treasure map of the strange fire. It's like someone gave you a pillow when you are sleepy." "Yes." Jian looked seriously at Granger's beautiful big crystal eyes and said, "All this is thanks to your help, otherwise it would never be so smooth." Granger suddenly said arrogantly, "It's good that you know it. When you become rich in the future, you must repay me well." Jian smiled bitterly. He knew in his heart that Granger's peculiarity meant that her chances were greater than his. Yan's. Strictly speaking, she didn't need Jian at all. But since Granger said so, Jian nodded. After leaving Musheng, Jian also wore a headscarf to cover the yellow sand. In the desert, if there's a sandstorm, it is still very troublesome. He drank a sip of cold water to moisturize himself, then opened the detailed map of the Tiger Desert provided by Haibodong and looked at the direction. Granger also took out an ordinary map. The most different thing between the ordinary map and Haibodong's map is the details. Even where there are stones, where there is fresh water, and where there are wild animals, Haibodong's map has signs, but there are none on the ordinary map. "Let's go to this place first," Jian suggested. Granger said, "I have no objection." Jian smiled. He would not feel lonely with Miss Granger accompanying him on this adventure. Chapter 596. Xiaotin and Zhali. Granger is a great cook. Even in the desert near the Tiger Desert, where the living environment is extremely harsh, Granger can still bring a different life experience with delicious food. "Granger, with you here, I don't feel like I'm here to practice hard, but to travel," Granger said bluntly. "Yes, you are here to practice hard, and I'm here to travel." Jian was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Granger to admit it so straightforwardly. He smiled bitterly. The next day, Granger completed today's simple system option task. At the same time, he picked up a large bag of money in the desert with good luck. All this happened in Jian's eyes, and he was very moved. "I used to hear the old man say that he was so lucky that he could pick up money while walking. I thought it was a joke, but it happened to Granger, and that was the truth." One day, Jian couldn't help asking, "Granger, why are you so lucky?" Granger replied, "People who work hard will never have bad luck." Jian was speechless again, but after chewing on the meaning of Granger's words carefully, it seemed to have some meaning. Although Jian first had an opportunity, that is, the ring Yaolao, and then determined the future growth direction, and finally practiced hard, but behind all this, there must be hard work. Another day later, Jian hurried on his way while still practicing hard. The experience of fighting against Haibodong, a Dling master, kept playing in Jian's mind, and he must practice with this as his goal. From Shi to Dling master, the endless yellow sand in the Tiger Desert, but it was not peaceful. That day, Granger looked at the system option task in front of her, and according to the prompt, she chose one of them. "Jian, let's go this way today." Jian didn't understand what Granger meant, but he looked at the detailed map provided by Haibodong and didn't refuse. With Granger's super luck of picking up money while walking, Jian completely trusted this strange woman. Following her, There must be meat to eat. Sure enough, not long after walking, he heard the sound of fighting. A group of mercenaries in the desert were besieged by a group of snake people. The biggest difference between snake people and ordinary humans is that snake people have snake-like tails. As an alien, the Tiger Desert is ruled by Queen Medusa. Granger, did you bring me here on purpose? Granger smiled and said, go ahead and beat those snakemen. Diane asked in confusion, why should I help those mercenaries? At least give some reasons. After all, when he was in the Warcraft Mountains, Diane did not have a good impression of mercenaries. They were a group of people who would do anything for money. However, Granger said bluntly, because they are from the Desert Iron mercenary group. After this, Diane was stunned for a moment. Then he gave Granger a thumbs up and said, you are awesome. Without saying anything, Diane immediately took out the Xuanzong ruler and rushed up. Kill. Diane was full of murderous aura. As a Qi, Diane could already condense Qi gauze clothes, and the people from the Desert Iron mercenary group and the group of snakemen present were only Qi of 7, 8 or 9 stars. How could they be the opponents of Diane, a ruthless man? Boom. The snakemen were terrified and wanted to hunt down the mercenaries and snatch the human beauties. I didn't expect a Qingye to show up halfway. This Diane has no martial ethics. He kills people right away. After a while, all the snake people on the scene were killed by Diane. Thank you, hero, for saving my life. Zhu Lan and Danzi from the Motai mercenary group expressed their gratitude for being rescued suddenly. Zhu Lan was quite pretty, but Diane didn't look at her much. He put away his weapon and said with a smile, are you from the Motai mercenary group? Zhu Lan asked curiously, hero, do you know us? Diane said, yes, my name is Diane, and I know the boss of your Motai mercenary group. Take me there quickly. Diane? Everyone was stunned, and then they thought of something. They quickly said, hero Diane, please come this way. We will take you there immediately. Congratulations on completing the optional task. Reward basic attribute +1. Granger also successfully completed the task. With the current accumulation, the attributes of her second set of inscriptions have also improved a lot. Battle Spirit +32, Alchemy +41. The speed of improvement is not too slow, but this is only the improvement of attribute points, and does not include the improvement of battle spirit fighting skills and alchemist skills. When Zhu Lan and others saw Miss Granger, they were slightly stunned. Then they looked at the young hero Diane with strange eyes. Diane has the strength of a battle master at a young age, and just now he fought against the Snake Man, killing decisively. It can be seen that his future achievements are limitless. However, I thought that such warriors are generally martial arts fanatics. But I didn't expect that Diane was accompanied by beauty. Even though Granger was covered with a veil, her graceful body and unique temperament were also unique. Zhu Lan originally wanted to get close to the young hero Diane, even if it was just a thought. But after seeing Granger, she didn't have such thoughts. In the Desert Iron mercenary group, she, Zhu Lan, is a beauty with many suitors. But beauties are also divided into levels. Granger is obviously the ceiling level. Even Zhu Lan would quickly become a supporting actress if she stood next to him. Granger smiled sweetly and didn't even speak much. All the way to the Desert Iron mercenary group, under the management of Diane's two brothers Zhao Ting and Zhao Li. This place is also quite impressive. Naturally, there are strong men in the mercenary group. Diane was very moved. His two brothers did not stay in Mutant City like their father, but came to the Tiger Desert to develop. Now they have established the Desert Iron mercenary group and have made some achievements. Listening to Zhu Lan's explanation along the way, the Desert Iron mercenary group is now the largest mercenary group here except for the Sand mercenary group. Big brother, second brother, the three brothers were in tears when they met. Dianzi, you are here. Zhao Li came up and gave Diane a big hug. It was obvious that Diane's second brother was more enthusiastic. Diane's eldest brother Zhao Ting was the head of the Desert Iron mercenary group, so he was naturally more calm. The three of them greeted each other. Zhao Li also mentioned Diane's past, how he had reached the third stage of Qi in 3 years. He was also shocked to learn that Diane had now broken through to Qi. Diane did not hide anything from his two brothers, and told them almost everything he knew, even including the fact that Jian was broken off by his fiancée Lin Yanran. The three brothers had not seen each other for many years, and the closeness of blood allowed them to speak freely, until the enthusiasm faded a little. Ding seemed to notice it. Third brother, who is this? Granger had been sitting quietly, dignified and elegant. Only at this moment, she was the lady from a wealthy family. Her temperament was completely different from the rough men of the Desert Iron mercenary group. Oh, her name is Granger. She's my friend. Diane immediately explained. I came all the way from the Monster Mountain range, thanks to Ms. Granger's help. Ali suddenly poked Diane with his elbow with a sly smile, and said, good boy, you are so lucky. Even if you don't have Lin Yanran who doesn't know the value of things, it's not bad to have Ms. Granger. When are you going to hold a banquet and invite us to the wedding? Diane smiled bitterly. Second brother, don't talk nonsense. Miss Granger and I are ordinary friends. You can see that she has been wearing a veil. In fact, I have never seen what she looks like until now. Chapter 597 Green Scale Maid. Oh, so mysterious? Ding and Ali were both interested. At the same time, a system option popped up in front of Granger. Option 1, arrogantly said, what are you looking at? Haven't you seen a beautiful woman? Don't think I don't know what you two are thinking. It's a sin to think. Although I am approachable and naturally beautiful, how can a pheasant match a phoenix? Complete the task and get the exclusive attribute, eloquence, +1. Option 2, what nonsense. Go up and give Ding and Ali 2 big buy pockets. Let them see how powerful I am. Complete the task and get the exclusive attribute, big buy pocket, +1. Option 3, we are all normal people, communicate normally. Complete the task and get the basic attribute +1. What the hell? Big buy pocket can become an exclusive attribute? Granger was also a little speechless. Fortunately, there are still some options for normal people, so they don't have to be forced to choose the funny options. Thank you Miss Granger for helping my third brother along the way. Ding, as the head of the Desert Iron mercenary group and the eldest of the three brothers, naturally spoke more calmly. Ali also coughed and said, don't be offended, Ms. Granger, I was just joking with Yanzi just now. Granger also spoke, with a clear and pleasant voice, no wonder, Diane and I are just casual acquaintances, and we just help each other. Diane was also embarrassed. What a casual encounter. If you are really Hermione, then, since the beginning of King Shan Town, nothing has been a casual encounter. You have carefully arranged it step by step. However, Diane here has no need to expose Granger. Since it is confirmed that Ms. Granger is just Diane's friend, not a special relationship, in the spirit of politeness, Ali will no longer joke around. That night, Ding and Ali held a banquet. It was rare for Diane's third brother to come, so they were happy. Naturally, they had to drink until they were drunk. Diane usually doesn't drink, but it's rare for him to get drunk tonight. Miss Granger only tasted a little, and she would not get drunk even if she drank a lot. Diane was carried down to rest. Granger also arranged a VIP room. Granger cast a little magic to make the house more suitable for her to live in. The next day, Granger woke up early. The VIP room was modified by her, and she could sleep well. Miss Granger is also a girl who understands life and likes to sleep in. There is a reason for getting up so early. Generally speaking, it is related to the system option task. Granger quickly came to the place where Diane lived. After learning that Granger and Diane were just ordinary friends, the two of them were not arranged to live in the same room. Although Ali was also drunk last night, as the second in command of the Desert Iron mercenary group, he naturally could not sleep as much as Diane. When he woke up, he unexpectedly saw Miss Granger, who had a beautiful figure and noble temperament, walking towards his younger brother Diane. Ali laughed secretly. You said they were ordinary friends. You couldn't help but go to my third brother so early in the morning. Your thoughts are so obvious. You must have taken a fancy to my younger brother. Ali did not go forward to tease, but left with a smile. In fact, Ali really misunderstood. Granger's eyes are too high. Although Diane is indeed better than ordinary boys, he is not within Granger's consideration. Granger prefers to get close to beautiful women. The reason why he came to find Jian early this morning is just because it has something to do with the next new character girl. Jian just woke up and saw a very beautiful little girl in his room. She looked about 13 or 14 years old. In the chaotic world of Qi continent, this age is already good. This girl is very beautiful, and judging from her temperament, she is still a pure girl. The purpose of being arranged by the eldest and second brothers to serve Jian as a maid is self-evident. The eldest and second brothers knew that the third brother Jian was an adult, so it was natural. It's a pity that whether it is Jian in the original drama or Jian here, they are actually quite serious. Although sometimes they are quite vulgar, generally speaking, they will not mess around. Master, you are awake. The girl's voice was cautious, as if she was afraid of making Jian angry. Jian had a headache because his two brothers had made him drink too much wine last night. He asked in confusion, "Who are you?" The timid girl said quickly, "My name is Qinglin, and I was arranged by the leader to take care of the master." Jian smiled awkwardly. "Is there such a treatment?" Jian looked at Qinglin, who had a very good figure, good temperament, and a very good appearance, recalling that he had no maids to serve him in the Zhao family in Yuten City. Unexpectedly, he would have such treatment when he just arrived at the Modi mercenary group. When Jian was about to say something, the woman Granger ran over. "Qinglin meets Miss Granger." Qinglin was of low status, and she also knew Miss Granger who came with Jian last night. However, because Qinglin had a good appearance and a pure body, she was arranged to serve Jian. Granger observed Qinglin carefully and ignored the embarrassed Zhao Yan. Zhao Li thought Granger came early in the morning for Jian, but in fact, Granger came for Qinglin. "Granger, it's not what you think, Qinglin." Jian wanted to explain, although he knew that it was the good intentions of his elder and second brothers. He also understood that Granger had never liked him at all. But Jian was upright and didn't want to be misunderstood. Granger was direct. She stretched out her hand to hold Qinglin, and said to Qinglin in surprise, "Jian, I want your little maid. Let her serve me." "You have a difference between men and women." What a remark. Jian was speechless. His elder and second brothers arranged a little beautiful maid to serve him, but when it came to Granger, it became a difference between men and women. Could it be that a big and strong man was arranged to serve Jian? Oh my god, I can't imagine that scene. This is also why Jian was speechless. Without waiting for Jian to speak, Granger took Qinglin away. "Come, Qinglin, come to my room." The leader, Qinglin, was in a dilemma. She was arranged by the leader to take care of Jian. The leader of the Modi mercenary group had done Qinglin a favor, and Qinglin must be obedient and repay him. Granger smiled and said, "Don't worry, although Jian is the younger brother of your leader and the second leader, my status is not low either. I need a beautiful maid like you to serve me, and they won't refuse." Granger spoke with a certain magic that made people believe what she said. Qinglin nodded, and some of them followed Granger away shyly. As for Jian, Qinglin was taken away before she established a relationship with Jian. In the original drama, Qinglin and Jian started to have feelings from today. Here, Granger directly robbed her. Poor Jian. He was left alone in the room again. Jian was speechless. He tasted the taste and smacked his lips and said to himself, "Why is it that every time there is a beauty, this Granger is more active than me?" Forget it. This little maid Qinglin, I am not destined to be with her. In the original play, Jian discovered Qinglin's special life experience today, but Jian here has not said a few words to Qinglin at all. Jian no longer thought about it. He was used to it. From Zhao Xuner to Zhao Yixian, to the female Huang Yunzai, etc., it was the same, including Qinglin this time. It was no surprise. Jian began to sit cross-legged and circulate the qi in his body to digest the remaining alcohol. After circulating it a few times, his headache caused by last night's drunkenness was relieved a lot. Chapter 598, Traveling Back to Marvel as the Savior. After Granger obtained the Qinglin maid from Jian, she had planned to make some arrangements. At this time, a situation that surprised Granger suddenly occurred. She had been living in the world of Po Kangqian for a long time. At this moment, the system in front of her suddenly appeared a different interface, with rich colors, and accompanied by a new prompt: "Travel to the Marvel world. Do you want to do it now?" It seemed to give Granger a choice, but it was just a notification. "I'm leaving." Granger thought about it for a while, but finally chose to agree to the system's prompt. "This day should have been thought of a long time ago. It's just that I have been in the key continent for the past 2 years, and I seem to be a little used to it. Although I look like a savior, I am not a free man." When Granger agreed, a shell fell from the air and landed in front of Granger. She knew that she was going back to Marvel to be the savior. Everyone has some identities. For example, in the game, you are a great god. In the company, you are an employee. At home, you are a good father. In the study group, you are a student. Granger is the same. In front of the system, she calls herself a worker. In Hogwarts, she is the witch Miss Hermione Granger. In Marvel, she is the savior and god. After coming to the key continent, she didn't want to be so high and mighty anymore, so she chose to integrate into life and become Hermione of the Zhao family, or directly Miss Granger who met on the road. Now back to Marvel. Granger is going to return to being the savior Hermione. As Granger held a shell that suddenly appeared, the next moment, a black hole that ordinary people could hardly see directly swallowed Hermione into it. As the light appeared again, Hermione was still in the same body, and the things she worried about did not happen. Whether it was magical power, accumulated attribute points, or cultivated ki, etc., they were all still there, and had not changed because of the different worlds. The Marvel Universe is very large, but Hermione is still on Earth when she traveled back. To be honest, Hermione needs to think for a long time before she can recall what she experienced in the Marvel world. The brain is running fast, as if everything in the world has stopped. In the past, when she only traveled through 2 worlds, Hogwarts and the Marvel Universe, the 2 worlds were running together. In order to keep the time in the Hogwarts world in order, Hermione often needs to use the time converter in advance, go back to the past, and then travel through Marvel. In the next 10 hours, travel through Hogwarts again, use the time converter to travel back, and repeat this process. Only in this way can the timeline in Hogwarts be kept in order, but it is very troublesome. As for Marvel, Hermione did not pay too much attention to it at the beginning. After all, it was the second world, and she did not take it as seriously as she did the first world. Moreover, since the system prompts her that she is the savior, that is, God, it is more normal for a dragon to be seen only from the head but not the tail. However, as the system is upgraded, Hermione finally discovered the uniqueness of the system. It turns out that Hermione's system also has levels. Although the upgrade of the system level is not particularly obvious, there is no feeling of being able to get new rewards by upgrading a level, but Hermione found that her system does have levels. The current system level is 56. Hermione does not understand how this level is calculated, but it is not surprising that it is currently at this system level. And one benefit of this level is that the world she travels through begins to undergo extremely subtle changes. In the past, the world was turning, and Hermione was just an uncertain factor in traveling through the past. But now, it has changed. With the increase of the number of worlds that Hermione has traveled through, there have been earth-shaking changes. At first, 3 worlds revolve around Hermione. The most intuitive feeling is that when Hermione travels through a world, the time of the previous world will stop. In other words, when Hermione leaves the Pocankian world and travels to the Marvel world, the time of the original Pocankian world will stop. It's like playing a single-player game, where the save file is when you leave the game. It will still be there when you log into the game next time. The function of this new system perfectly solves the problem of Hermione's time confusion. When Hermione discovered this, she finally felt a little comforted, recalling what happened when she traveled through Marvel. The storyline of Marvel, from Iron Man, to the Hulk, to the story of Iron Man 2, and Thor, is the story of Captain America. Hermione seems to be in the story of Captain America at this moment. Before traveling through Pocankian, she returned to the story of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Then she jumped to Pocankian. In the Marvel world, Hermione's sense of participation is very low. Most of the time, she is invisible. In the story of Captain America, she began to transform into various characters to expand the plot, and this attempt was perfectly applied to the world of Qingquan. Now, suddenly returning to the Marvel world, Hermione is a little confused about what identity to use. In the past, she often wore an invisible cloak to avoid trouble. That was because Hermione's strength was not strong at the beginning, and she made such a choice in order to live more cautiously. Later, she was basically able to protect herself. Hermione's low-key and cautiousness were relatively small. So this time when she returned to Marvel, Hermione decided to boldly try some ideas. She found a beautiful lady's mask in the savings ring, put it on, and then cast a high-level magic to affect the spiritual thoughts of the people around her. Then, Hermione, without changing her name, integrated into the story of Marvel. In Marvel, she is still the savior, which is true. However, compared to being high above, she now prefers to integrate into life. She doesn't mind a little trouble. After all, with the increase of strength, we still have the ability to protect ourselves. At this moment, the beautiful agent Peggy Carter provided intelligence to Steve's action team. In Hydra, the evil Dr. Arnim Zola was taking a train. At what time and where was he expected to appear? In addition, everyone suggested where to start. In this action team, except for Captain America Steve Rogers, his good friend James Barnes, and the beautiful agent Peggy Carter, the rest of the people were familiar faces. In the previous fight with Hydra, everyone was a comrade in arms who killed the enemy together. However, as the savior, Hermione Granger was invisible at the beginning, or turned into an old woman, a female officer, an ordinary clerk, etc. Now, she no longer transforms, and her true body appears. Wearing a snow-white mask, her true body appeared in front of everyone. After living in the Key continent for so long, she suddenly returned to Marvel and was still a little uncomfortable, but wearing a mask, no one could see her expression. At the same time, high-level magic brainwashed their brain tissue, making them think in their subconscious that the female warrior Hermione was a member of their action team. As for why she wore a white mask, that was her private matter. Hermione, do you have anything to add? Steve Rogers suddenly looked over and asked Hermione, who had just come from Qingquan. Hermione was calm. She coughed, pointed her finger at the action area on the map and began to express her opinion. Chapter 599 Hermione is a sharpshooter. Bullets can turn. Hermione's thoughts were undoubtedly based on the system's optional tasks. Do you really think that she traveled back and forth between several worlds just for tourism? She was working. Option 1. Returning to the Marvel world. She must do something big to change the direction of the original drama. This time, the action against the evil Dr. Arnim Zola is temporarily cancelled. Complete the task to reward the exclusive attribute, change, +1. Option 2. Since the direction of the original drama plot is to be changed, it must be more explosive and kill all the people here. Complete the task to reward the exclusive attribute, ruthless, +1. Option 3. Start normally and play normally. Complete the task to reward, magic, +1. There is no doubt that Hermione will naturally choose to start normally and play normally. My opinion is that I have no opinion. Let's take action tomorrow. Hermione wore a mask, but her voice sounded very steady. Hermione has the ability to change her voice, so she naturally knows when to use what kind of voice to speak. The action team all looked at her and said nothing. Although Hermione had just returned to Marvel, they had actually been in action many times in the fight against Hydra, and everyone was used to it. War is bound to be accompanied by death, and everyone was mentally prepared for this. Although Hermione was curious about why Steve Rogers would suddenly talk to her, after all, she had just come here and was wearing a mask to blend in with them, so no one came to disturb Hermione that night. Hermione was in her room, thinking about whether to use the time and space gate to travel to the Key continent to see, but after thinking about it, she decided to forget it. Since she had returned to Marvel, she should concentrate on her work. However, in the Key continent, Hermione practiced Key and alchemist skills. Now that she is back in Marvel, there is no practice here anyway. Hermione continues to practice Key and alchemist skills. In this way, when Hermione returns to the Key continent next time, her strength will be even more terrifying. Hermione is used to working hard. If she doesn't work hard, she will feel uncomfortable all over. The next day, before dawn, Steve Rogers, as Captain America, organized everyone to start taking action. As a white-masked female warrior, Hermione naturally joined in. They soon arrived at the target location of the operation. It was snowy and very cold. In order to avoid being discovered by the Hydra people, everyone hid on the cliff on the other side of the train track. Later, when the train of the evil Dr. Arnim Zola passed by, everyone flew directly over through the cableway. This process must be very thrilling. Peggy Carter, the beautiful agent, did not directly participate in the operation as an intelligence officer. And Hermione, as the only female warrior in the group, was also treated specially at this moment. Are you cold? The operation will definitely be very dangerous in a while. You can stay behind to help us watch the ropes. Because the train was very fast and there was no way to set up snipers, it was meaningless for Hermione to stay behind to watch the ropes, because after the people hijacked the evil Dr. Arnim Zola, they would definitely not return the same way. No, don't underestimate me. I'm very strong. Hermione raised her casserole-sized fist and the hot weapon in her arms and smiled. Only in the Marvel world can Hermione have the opportunity to play with hot weapons at will. Whether in Hogwarts or in battle through the heavens, it seems inappropriate to take out a pistol and a submachine gun. Okay, but for a while, you're behind me, I'll protect you. It wasn't Steve Rogers who said this, but his friend James Barnes. Hermione's eyes were a little strange. You should be careful in this operation. Here it comes. As he spoke, the train that the evil Dr. Arnim Zola of Hydra was riding on came on the snowy train tracks. The evil Dr. Arnim Zola had already felt the danger when he was riding on this train. Since the rise of the super soldier Captain America, the team he led has been constantly breaking through their Hydra bases, and as a result, they have obtained more and more secrets of Hydra. Soon, they will target him, Arnim Zola, because he and the leader of Hydra, John Schmidt, Red Skull, are in cahoots. However, the evil Dr. Arnim Zola is not particularly afraid, not because he is not afraid of death. In fact, he was more afraid of death than anyone else in Hydra, because today, this train has set up traps. As long as anyone dares to come, they can guarantee that the other party will never return. Action. Steve Rogers gave an order, and everyone put on the zipline and attacked the train of Hydra's evil Dr. Arnim Zola from the snowy mountain. Everyone had experienced many battles, and the initial action was relatively smooth. But after entering the train, they found that this was a trap. After receiving the report from his men, the evil Dr. Arnim Zola immediately laughed sinisterly. I'm waiting for you. Inside the entire train, the fully armed enemies began to counterattack Steve Rogers' team. Be careful. Someone was hit. The enemy's weapon was developed with a cosmic cube. If it was hit, the body would disappear directly. It was a very terrifying weapon. Hermione just returned to Marvel yesterday and started fighting today. She was agile and dodged the enemy's intensive attacks in the train. Her eyes were sharp, and her hands were in sync. She raised her wrist and the bullets from the hot weapon in her hand flew out. Bang, 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 a few shots. Each shot hit the head. Steve Rogers, who could only hold up his shield to defend after rushing into the train, was stunned. Sharpshooter? Steve Rogers couldn't even remember when this female warrior named Hermione, wearing a white mask, joined the team. Of course he couldn't remember. Hermione just joined last night. In the past, she was the savior and god in Marvel, and rarely appeared in her true form. Hermione was very excited to fight, because she didn't have the opportunity to fight with firearms normally. She could use magic to make her gun violate the principles of physics and have unlimited bullets, but Hermione didn't think it was necessary. She quickly changed the magazine. With years of accumulation and the fact that the team had already issued a lot of bullets, she would not be short of bullets even if she fought for a day and a night. After changing the magazine, Hermione not only did not retreat, but she was alone with two guns. Bang, 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 one person per head. It was so awesome. Captain America and the others were stunned. James Barnes was also shocked. Oh my god, this female warrior Hermione is so awesome. Even more awesome is yet to come. After the Hydra people knew that Hermione's shooting skills were awesome, they began to dodge defense and took out blast shields to block Hermione's bullets. Of course, ordinary bullets can't penetrate. However, Hermione only needs to enchant the bullets, and even 10 layers of blast shields can be penetrated. But Hermione thinks this is too exaggerated. Let's use the wrist-shaking gun technique to make the bullet start turning. Hermione tried it and found that it didn't work, even if her wrist was very flexible. According to the physical acceleration, it was impossible to make the bullet turn. Forget it. Let's add some magic. Purely physical bullets can't turn at all. Hermione used the wrist-shaking gun technique again, and this time she recited a spell, and the bullet was attached with magic, magically began to turn in midair, bypassing the blast shield and accurately hitting the enemy's head. Another headshot. Chapter 600. This killer is not too cold. Hermione, the killer, is not too cold. It is not that she is born bloodthirsty, but that the battle between the two enemies is necessary. Kill her. Kill her. After the Hydra people understood Hermione's strength, they all attacked Hermione one after another. The intensive attacks would make even a fly be beaten into a sieve. However, the warrior Hermione still dodged one by one with her amazing body skills. Steve Rogers and others who could only defend with shields behind them were stunned and admired her. Too strong. I thought Captain America was a super strong existence, but I didn't expect that this female warrior Hermione was also like a killer. Not only was her body agile, but her gun skills were even better. However, at this moment, the enemy finally got angry and threw a bomb directly. Boom! A huge spark directly broke through the roof of the car, and half of the car was blown away and fell off the cliff. The female warrior Hermione also disappeared in the smoke. The surviving soldiers of the task force that captured the evil doctor of Hydra, Arnim Zola, all thought that Hermione was killed in the explosion. They shouted angrily, "Kill the enemy and avenge Hermione!" The rage of revenge surged. Little did they know that the reason why Hermione chose to disappear just now was not because she was directly killed in the explosion. Instead, a system option popped up in front of her. Option 1. What can a small shell do to me? Look at me using the fighting spirit of Lin to fight. Complete the task and get a grenade reward. Option 2. I haven't used the Tathagata palm for a long time, so I'd better use this trick to deal with the enemy. Complete the task and get a giant hamburger reward. Option 3. Take advantage of the explosion and retreat in stealth. After all, I am a savior who traveled through time, not a superhero, and I can't steal too much of the male protagonist's role. Complete the task and get a basic attribute +1 reward. Although at the moment of the explosion, time was running out. However, Hermione considered it comprehensively and still felt that option 3 was good. If she used her full strength, the enemies on the entire train would not be enough for her to kill. We should be more low-key, or at least step back behind the scenes, so that the hero of this movie, Captain America, can display his own aura. With Hermione's shooting skills just now, the headshot was accurate. At this moment, even if the enemy deployed in advance, they were quickly defeated one by one in the face of the counterattack of Captain America and others. However, just when they were about to capture the evil Dr. Arnim Zola, an accident occurred again. The interior of the carriage where the evil Dr. Arnim Zola was located was densely covered with bombs. When Captain America and others just entered, there was a deafening explosion. Except for Steve Rogers, who had the protagonist's aura and shield, the rest of the people were all blown away, including James Barnes. Steve Rogers shouted loudly. This was his only friend since childhood. At the beginning, Captain America went from a heroic actor to a real invincible warrior just to save his good friend James Barnes. It seems that many things in the world are already destined, just like the butterfly effect. If Captain America had not been fearless of life and death to rescue James Barnes, he might have been killed by the Hydra. It was Steve Rogers who allowed James Barnes to survive for so long. However, in this operation, in the horrific explosion, James Barnes still could not avoid the fate of being blown away. Steve Rogers was a little emotionally broken, although he also understood that the life of the enemy was the same as the life of his comrade. However, the enemy is the enemy. Even if the enemy dies 1,000 or 10,000, It is all right, but Steve Rogers' friends cannot die, not even once. At this time, the female warrior Hermione, who had just disappeared, suddenly appeared. She was intact. She was still wearing a mask. She reached out and grabbed Steve Rogers and said, "The dead cannot be resurrected. We still have important things to do." Steve Rogers' eyes were complicated. At this moment, although she was a woman, the female warrior Hermione was obviously much stronger than Steve Rogers. "You are not dead yet?" The evil Dr. Arnim Zola was extremely surprised to see Hermione appear again. Why couldn't the explosion just now kill this female warrior? They are all mortals. So Dr. Evil Arnim Zola still doesn't believe it. He continues to press the remote control to install the bomb. However, Dr. Evil Arnim Zola failed this time. Hermione suddenly raised her hand and a bullet flew out. Dr. Evil Arnim Zola screamed miserably. The bullet went straight through his hand holding the remote control of the bomb. Hermione could have shot him in the head, but she didn't. According to the system task, Dr. Evil Arnim Zola is still alive and needs to be used in important plots. If he is killed now, it will have an unknown butterfly effect on future stories, which is not worth the loss. Captain America Steve Rogers watched his good friend James Barnes being blown away, and at this moment he did not choose to kill Dr. Evil Arnim Zola. After all, this doctor is different from ordinary little people. He still has an extremely important role to play when he is alive. "Catch him," Steve Rogers said painfully. Although the operation was finally successful, the loss was too great. Many people died, including his good friend James Barnes. After the group came back with the evil Dr. Arnim Zola, the beautiful agent Peggy Carter was very happy. The operation went very smoothly. They considered that the operation would fail. The evil Dr. Arnim Zola is not an ordinary person in Hydra. Many troops wanted to catch him, but they all failed. The action team formed by Steve Rogers and the beautiful agent Peggy Carter succeeded in one try. What's wrong? In addition to being happy, the beautiful agent Peggy Carter seemed to notice that Steve Rogers' expression was not right. Hermione explained with a white mask, "This operation caused heavy casualties, and James Barnes also fell off the cliff and disappeared." How could this happen? The beautiful agent Peggy Carter also found it difficult to accept this matter. Although the person she liked was Steve Rogers, she knew that James Barnes was almost the only relative of Steve Rogers in the world. No one can replace the importance of James Barnes to him. She could understand how upset Steve Rogers felt at the moment. Steve Rogers smiled bitterly, his eyes a little empty. He turned around and said, "I'm fine. Don't worry about me. We are all fighters fighting for peace. Bloodshed and sacrifice are things that should have been expected long ago." That's right, in the war years, this kind of sacrifice is too normal. Whether it is the soldiers fighting in blood or the unarmed civilians, they can't escape the killing of war. Therefore, the preciousness of peace is made up of countless bones and corpses. On the Hydra side, the evil Dr. Arnim Zola was captured, and they soon got the news. John Schmidt, Red Skull, the evil leader of Hydra, looked even crazier when he was angry. Others thought that Hydra's target was the whole of Europe, but in fact, Red Skull's target was the whole world. He wanted to rule the world. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.